Welcome to Pick Me Up, I'm Scared, the podcast.
I'm your host, Madeline, and today Kenna is out, so we have a special guest host co-host. If you've listened to our bonus episodes, you will recognize this person. It is Lizzie.
Hi.
Lizzie is here with us today. Lizzie is somebody who actually works with me and Kenna at our normal day job. And Lizzie has been part of the book club that we just wrapped up over on our Patreon. So this is Lizzie's first time doing a real episode. Are you nervous?
Yep.
I think it's going to be fine.
I mean, I think so too.
I think so too. Yeah, I think it's going to be totally fine. You've been warmed up. You know, the Patreon obviously is a lot more chill. But yeah, if you have not heard Lizzie on the Patreon, our Patreon is $3 a month, and you can find us at patreon.com/pickmeupimscared. And we, like I said, just wrapped up doing our book club over there, which is very interesting. And we're going to get into some other non-book club bonus content coming up this month, which you might also hear Lizzie on.
Oh.
I don't know.
I hope so.
You just show up sometimes.
It's true.
Yeah, Lizzie's like the ghost of Pick Me Up, I'm Scared pod.
That's good.
You just show up.
That's good.
Yeah. So because this is Lizzie's very, very first episode, I was not going to surprise you with the topic.
No, I wouldn't let you. You tried.
Yeah, I did try. Lizzie wanted to make sure that she had time to do research. So, Lizzie, do you want to share what our topic is for today's episode?
Our topic is SponCon.
Yes, it's SponCon. It's sponsored content. So I thought still I would start with a question, though, to get us going. And my question is, Lizzie, have you ever been paid to post content online?
No, have you?
I have. Okay, I've gotten a bunch of shit for free, but I've only been paid to post content one time, and it was Diesel.
Oh, when?
It was like years ago. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. Diesel paid me like $600 to post in like a t-shirt.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Was it cool?
It was fine. It was like a stupid t-shirt.
It's crazy that it's only happened to you one time with like over a million followers.
Yeah, I have a lot of followers. You would think that it would happen.
And hundreds of thousands for years, too.
Right, yeah, because I have like 200,000 followers on Instagram, and I have 1.6 million on TikTok. And before that, way back in the day, I had a fashion blog. Back in like the lookbook.nu days. I remember I was number 2 girl on Lookbook. Hey.
And only one sponsored.
Only one person is paid. People have, like I said, sent me a lot of free shit. Like, I get a lot of free shit. One of the most famous things that I got sent for free on TikTok, because I posted about it because it was so funny, is that Tabasco just sent me...
I remember.
Yeah, more Tabasco than any one person could humanly use ever in their life. And also they sent me Tabasco tube socks, which I still wear.
I remember.
Yeah, you've seen me wear the Tabasco tube socks. And then also, like, randomly, all these vegan... food places started sending me food, but like they're not paying me to post about them, so I'm not going to. So I just get like random free vegan food at my door.
I mean, that's like the best thing ever.
It's pretty good, but I'm like, literally, I'm cheap. If you pay me $100, I would talk about this.
Yeah.
But so now I just get like random free food sometimes, free food and free clothes.
I mean, what more can you ask for?
It's pretty good. It's pretty nice, but it would be cool to get paid.
Yeah.
Because I've maintained a social media presence for, like, a really long time.
No, you would definitely think... Because I know a lot of people who get paid to post.
I know a lot of people who get paid to post, too, and they have fewer followers than I do. But, like, the types of followers they have maybe are just, like, the types of people who would buy things.
I have also been on, like, the other end of that, though, at, like, different jobs. And then they always, like, seek micro-influencers. Because they're like, oh, this person will do it for, like, $50. We don't want to pay, you know, whatever.
Little do they know, I would do it for $50
right.
too. Yeah,
right.
yeah, I really would. But yeah, no. So I have been paid just the one time with the Diesel thing, but it wasn't even that big of a stretch because I used to wear Diesel like in the early 2000s. I mean, I didn't wear it. I would go window shop at the Diesel store. I had to take like a road trip with my best friend in high school to even go see a Diesel store.
Whoa.
Like we would drive to LA or San Francisco and then just walk into a Diesel store and we couldn't afford anything and we would just like stare at it all and touch things.
I completely missed that entire era.
The Y2K Diesel era.
Well, because I was 5.
Right, you were 5 and I was like 15. Yeah, that's a big difference. So, you know, whatever. That was my attempt at sponsored content. Only one time.
It's a lot of money, though.
It's a lot of money. $600?
That's sick.
It's a lot of money. It's really, really good. All right. So, you've never posted. I've posted once.
I don't think so.
I feel like people would pay you to post things.
I've had like a lot of things where I felt pressured to post something, but I was never like paid.
Never paid.
No.
Interesting. So like what, I guess to kick off the episode on sponsored content, it helps, like, let's talk about what exactly makes something sponsored content versus just like a regular ad.
Okay, so I define SponCon as it refers to really any media or product made for consumption that advertises or features another external brand in exchange for payment, but in a way that's made to feel organic. So the consumer isn't supposed to realize that they're being advertised to.
So it's like subliminal in your mind.
Yeah, I think that SponCon is really like maybe a little bit smaller than that in the official definition, but I figured we would like add a bunch of like product placement and like advertising to it.
Yeah. I feel like sponsored content to me doesn't have to be subliminal because I feel like the people who post a lot of sponsored content always do those really obvious captions on Instagram posts.
It's definitely not always.
Right.
Yeah,
so you can like tell that it's an ad, but it's just really weird. So I feel like sponsored content is like, in my head at first it was social media specific, but the more you think about it, you're like, no, sponsored content has kind of always been a thing because back even in the 90s when like celebrity paparazzi photos were super popular, the thing you would do as a fashion brand is you would just send PR packages to celebrities and hope like some celebrity, I don't know, like Lindsay Lohan would be wearing one of your shirts while like throwing up outside of a nightclub on Hollywood Boulevard, cool. Right? And then you'd end up in People magazine and everyone would be like, Lindsay Lohan's such a mess. I wish I had her clothes. Who makes this shirt?
I wonder if there are like these street style photographers in like probably like the 60s and 70s in New York that would photograph for like the New York Times style section, and they would like shoot all these like socialites and they'd go to like the Upper East Side, like rich neighborhoods. So I wonder if brands would like send those people clothes to try to get their clothes in the style sections.
Okay, so that makes sense. So then by extension, isn't sponsored content also just when a huge fashion brand would gift a celebrity clothes to wear on the red carpet to like a movie premiere or something? What's the difference?
I also read like even in the 1800s, books would have sponsored content. Like people would write products into books.
Like product placement.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like sponsored content has to be somebody is making something that someone could perceive to be art or culture, all right? Not a commercial enterprise necessarily. Right. And then a commercial entity with a product to sell wants to just slide it on in there so that it blurs the line between advertisement and art.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what it is.
I think that's what it is.
It's pretty hard to come up with a definition, though, because I feel like the default brain thing is just like Instagram.
Right.
It's like just all Instagram.
Right.
And the reality is like sponsored content can't just be Instagram because, yeah, there are so many other forms of media that have relied on it.
But now that's probably like the most prevalent.
I think that's the most common for sure. So Lizzie, you had some examples of your favorite types of sponsored content, right?
Yeah, I do. Okay, wait. So, well, there's just like, they're not really types of sponsored content. I'll go back to that. But, there's like one reference, this, Deanna Templeton's book. She's married to Ed Templeton, the pro skater.
Yes.
And she had this photo book called Your Logo Here, where she photographed all these kids at skate brand events, and they would spray paint the logos onto their stomachs and stuff, and like they're really cool pictures of just like kids covered in like the DC shoes logo.
Oh yeah.
And then her husband Ed wrote this like really boomery essay in the back about how like the kids don't even know that the brands are making them into billboards. And that also reminded me, my dad would like not buy me Abercrombie shirts because he'd be like, oh, you're like making your body a billboard, like you should only wear a shirt if you like really support the message.
You know what, I totally remember that though. There was a trend like in the late 90s and early 2000s especially where it was not quite like streetwear status where it was just like you wore a brand because it was a brand, but it would be like mall brands like Abercrombie & Fitch or Hollister, and you would just wear shirts that had the logo on it. And I do remember adults were freaking out. They were like, the kids are making themselves into billboards.
It's really funny.
Yeah, and you're just like, oh no, this is just a cool store. I like the store, but I could see how it is. Yeah, you're like branding yourself, like NASCAR style.
Like what we did.
Yeah.
With the tunnel vision tattoos.
Exactly. I was going to talk about that too. That's like a little, we're going to talk about the tunnel vision tattoos in a second.
Back to that. And then the other reference that I really, really like is this like super nerdy podcast called Flash Forward. Do you know it?
No.
It's this lady, Rose Eveleth, who's like, she's a really cool writer. But she did an episode of it's a futurist podcast, and she did an episode that imagines a future where everybody's constantly being listened to, and then you get a small stipend every time you mention a brand to your friend, just like in casual conversation.
That's really good.
It was really good.
Yeah, that's really
good.
good.
They like, acted out the whole thing. It's really nerdy.
I like that. I'm a loser, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I had some examples of some sponsored content also. They weren't my favorite things, though.
Well, I have my favorite sponsored content after you.
Oh, okay. All right. So mine are... I think that mine would be like the opposite of my favorites. These are things that I just thought were so dystopian and weird and fucked up. Yeah. Okay. And I feel like these are things that everybody listening, like you probably remember most or at least some of these. So the number one most dystopian sponsored content I can remember in recent years was Kim Kardashian advertising the flat tummy tea appetite suppressant lollipops.
Oh, I wrote that down too.
Yeah, with the caption, "You guys at Flat Tummy Co. just dropped a new product. They're appetite suppressant lollipops, and they're literally unreal. They're giving the first 500 people on their website 15% off. Not even a lot of money off, okay? So if you want to get your hands on some, you need to do it quick. Hashtag suck it."
Hashtag suck it.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This was
It's
a really, because it's a lollipop. This was the most dystopian one. And sometimes, like, the internet is a force for good, and just everybody on Twitter was like, this is the most fucked up thing you could possibly advertise.
How did Flat Tummy Tea get enough money to pay for Kim Kardashian to do that?
Okay, this is a good question.
Flat Tummy
Who
Tea?
is funding Flat Tummy Tea? Because they are everywhere, and they are paying everybody to make this fucked up content. They reached out to me once.
There's no way it does anything.
No, it's really bad for you, obviously.
Like
it feeds into, like, horrifying, like, eating disorder culture, obviously, makes people feel like shit, and it's really unhealthy for you. It's just, like, bad.
Just Googling who owns
Who owns it? What'd you find out with?
Yes. Tabitha Tonga, but I don't know. I'm sure that there's more.
Yeah, there's got to be a backer, because they do. The Flat Tummy Tea Industrial Complex.
Corp. Yeah, we got it. That'll be in the next podcast.
That'll be its own
bonus episode.
Bonus episode on Flat Tummy Tea. Yeah, because it's really horrifying. It's bad. Okay, so then Kim Kardashian obviously was like, oh, I fucked up. I did not read the room correctly and had to delete the post because everyone was like, this is horrifying. You're literally trying to trick people into not eating and make money off of it. Like, what the fuck? Then the second one, which is not that different to me, Kylie Jenner promoted Fit Tea body wraps. Oh. It's all these fitness tea companies.
I love this
But
stuff.
they're not fitness,
so funny.
fitness
it's
air quotes.
So funny.
It's so fucked up. So the caption on Kylie Jenner's post on Instagram about a body wrap made by a laxative tea company, the caption said, "They're keeping my tummy toned and lean as it gets closer to summer." And then doctors were like, what the fuck is this? This doesn't do anything. Like, why is she doing this? This is so fucking weird. One doctor got really mad and he was like publicly like, who is stupid enough to believe this is doing something? But the answer is it's not people that are stupid. It's like everybody's like a victim of the same fucked up narrow beauty standards that are like killing
Kim
people.
Kardashian.
Yeah, or this one was Kylie Jenner.
Sorry.
But the whole Jenner Kardashian industrial complex. Right. So, yeah, really, really awful.
That reminds me, you know those like weight loss magnets?
No.
They sell it's like the Flat Tummy Tea stuff, but it's like magnets and you like put them on different, it's like earrings.
Oh, it's like pressure points.
It doesn't say anything about pressure
points. Oh, okay.
It's just like, they're just like magnetic weight loss earrings.
Wow, that is
really cool.
Really wild. So the third one I had is also similar. It's a dystopian laxative tea thing. This is Lisa Vanderpump of like Vanderpump Rules.
I don't know if I fully know who she is.
I don't really understand it either, but I know like some of our friends are really into Vanderpump Rules and they talk about it a lot. So it's just like some rich lady who owns a restaurant maybe.
Oh yeah, okay.
And there's a reality TV show about it.
I now I remember what it is, sir.
Okay, so she advertised on her Instagram something called a Slender Tea Talks. Horrifying, awful. And it is a tea detox. Again, So these diet teas, though, that all these people are advertising, by the way, they give you bowel issues, diarrhea. They can potentially lead to heart problems, muscle weakness, liver damage. Like, they're really fucking bad for you. And obviously they're like, psychologically, it's really fucked up for people to be seeing this as though it's normal and okay. Like, starve yourself and poison yourself so you can be tiny. Haha. It's like deranged, right? And then also Amber Rose did an Instagram post for flat tummy tea also.
Oh my god, these are all flat tummy teas.
These are all flat tummy
Detoxes.
tea. Well, they're different companies doing the same thing.
Okay, yeah, they're
So
all
we have
detoxes.
flat tummy tea, we have fit tea body wraps, we have slender tea talks. Yeah. So Amber Rose did one for this flat tummy tea product, which was an organic pregnancy tea, and everybody was like, you should not have a flat tummy, you have a human in you, that's a baby in there. Like, what is this fucking ad? This is so weird. So I think Amber Rose had to delete that too.
I think that's my favorite one.
Yeah, to have a flat tummy when you're pregnant. It was wild. Okay, so then the other kind of category of this stuff that I just always have thought was so weird, which you've probably seen, is the hair growth supplements.
Oh, yeah, I love that stuff.
Yes. Okay, so Khloe Kardashian advertised that Sugar Bear hair gummy vitamin thing. And I've seen so many influencers advertise these, so this company must pay, right? Yeah, and they're gummy bears that's supposed to make your hair grow. And everybody takes the same pictures of them with, like, the little gummy bear in their mouth.
This has been, the hair growth supplements thing has been, like, a scam for a long, I'm sure flat tummy tea too, but it's been going on for, like, a super long time, and there were all these, like, pyramid schemes in, like, the early 2000s around the hair growth stuff, and they would make these t-shirts with, like, the name of the company, and on the back it would have the inches that your hair grew.
Oh, yes.
It's so cool.
The shirts are kind of cool,
It's so
actually.
cool.
Yeah. The shirts are kind of cool. Also, Ashley Tisdale advertised a similar one, but it was called Hair Burst. So similar. Yeah. And then I had a few examples that were not really fucked up beauty ones. Well, no, actually, I have one more that is a fucked up beauty one. I forgot. This one is JWoww, and JWoww advertised something called a girly curve waist trainer.
Oh my god, I forgot about waist trainers.
Yeah. So JWoww from the Jersey Shore was like, yes, this. Okay, and then the last three, I swear, are not fucked up beauty things. Okay. One was Post Malone doing a collab with Crocs that was all advertised on his Instagram.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you wanted Post Malone Crocs, that's the thing you could have got. And then Kristen Bell did this whole, like, Instagram ad campaign for American Express. And there's this, like, picture of her, like, on her couch eating popcorn, but, like, with American Express pillows. I
think I remember that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's happening there. And then Kim Kardashian also, this is my favorite one, did an Instagram post about The Secret Life of Pets 2. The movie. Not even the first one.
Wait, what's the post?
It's like a picture maybe of, like, her dog in a pool. You should definitely look it up. She's just like, haha, my dog's so silly, just like the silly pets. And yeah, this was the post.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Wait,
yes.
Whoa.
It was a series of posts advertising
so sick.
The Secret Life of Pets 2. The second one. That one is my favorite.
That movie's actually pretty sick.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I can't remember why or how, but it was awesome.
Well, we're watching Paddington 2 on.
I know.
Yeah, I'm excited. That's an upcoming one. Yeah, so those were kind of some of my favorite horrifying, bad, strange ones. Did you have more examples of things that spoke to you, Lizzie?
Well, I have, like, a bunch of bad examples too, but I also have good examples, like my favorite ones.
Okay.
But I think
let's do a palate cleanser and do your favorite ones first, and then do bad examples.
Okay, well, I don't know. I feel like I'm just, like, so easily influenced by, like, everything. I watched this movie the other day called Ruby in Paradise, and it was just about a girl who, like, went to the beach, and then I was like, oh, I have to go to the beach now, and then I did. So it wasn't really, like, sponsored, but it just, like, works so well when it's, like, something so, like, integrated into, like, a whole, like, world.
Yes.
But okay, so in, like, 2015, maybe 2016, internet girl who, like, your friend.
Yes.
She worked, like, a ton with Depop, and it's, like, unclear, I guess, like, who really made who, But all of her like posts like completely sold me on Depop, and then I started doing Depop like super hardcore for like years, and it just like completely worked.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really interesting because I have personal feelings about that because I was friends with Bella. I was close to her, and I was always like, this company's exploiting you.
Yeah.
You know, because I think that a lot of people did join Depop because of her.
I definitely did. And like all of her posts, like her like America road trip and everything, it just like seemed so cool.
Yeah, but she's more like mild tempered than me, you know? She's just like, it's a symbiotic relationship, you know? But I was just always like, I think these people are really taking advantage of you. But that's okay. If you work at Depop and you're listening to me right now.
They were?
You can pay me to change my mind about that and make sponsored content about you. Do you like that? I slid that in.
When Depop started, they were like really cool to me too. They were like really nice in like, because I was like doing it like every day for a while, and they would like message me all the time and like promote everything. I don't know. It seemed like they were like...
They kind of did. Okay, so there was this guy who worked at Depop when they first started who approached me and a bunch of my friends and was like, if you want to use the platform, we'll put your stuff on the Explore page.
Yeah, they did that
and
a
we'll
lot.
waive all your fees.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, so cool. So I did it for a few months, and then he left, and then all of a sudden my fees came back. And then I was like, oh, he was just like nice. Yeah, he was nice.
Okay, anyway. The Twilight Burger King stuff is like my favorite stuff ever. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, because I didn't get into Twilight. I was too old for it.
Okay,
I like
so,
missed all of Twilight.
Well, they can't see, but basically Burger King and Twilight did a collaboration where they printed like all the cast of Twilight on like the cups and like the burger wrappers and everything, and it's like
the burger wrappers.
It's like the best packaging design I've ever seen in my entire life. And like I would like never eat Burger King. Like I've been vegetarian my whole life. There's no reason for me to go there. But like with the Twilight collab, that I would totally eat Burger King. You know,
just to get the Twilight collab packaging. That makes sense to me.
And then the last one was like a mix-up, but you know how Magnum ice cream is like the like Fashion's ice cream?
No, I've never heard of this.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay, so there's
this,
like,
special rich people ice cream?
It's like a gas station ice cream.
Oh.
But it's just like presented as like really like chic and like glamorous, and like this whole entire time in all of the ads for it, I thought it was Haagen-Dazs, so I started buying Haagen-Dazs, feeling really glamorous eating Haagen-Dazs.
I feel like Haagen-Dazs is glamorous.
It is much nicer than Haagen-Dazs. But anyway, there's this Vivienne Westwood show where all the models, it's from like 1994, and all the models are walking down the runway eating Magnum ice cream bars. And then that was what got me into getting ice cream bars. It's like Kate Moss like eating an ice cream bar. It's really cool.
Yes,
and
it was like, the era of skinny girl junk food.
Yeah, which is super cursed.
Yeah, it's all cursed.
Super cursed.
So I feel like sponsored content then, a lot of it does have to do with a lot of these cursed things.
Yeah, totally.
Like weird like proto Tumblr culture, right? Because a lot of sponsored content stuff is like you can be skinny and rich and carefree.
Yeah, I mean that's like advertising.
Yeah, that's
what
advertising.
Everybody wants.
That's what they're trying to sell us
right?
all.
I mean, but that stuff has like, this was like in the 90s. I mean, I feel like that's always been like present in advertising, like in like the 50s, but in like the reverse, and then the whole like girls eating pizza stuff in like 2014. And I think there's just always a version of that.
There probably is. Yes. Skinny, rich and carefree.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to sell us all.
It's very aspirational.
Yeah. What are your more cursed examples?
Okay. So I'm going to go on for a long time.
Okay, that's great. Let's do it.
Okay, so this was an issue that was talked about a lot, like I think maybe like during COVID, but it's like been an issue for a long time, where local news stations need funding. So then people from the community are like, oh, well, I'll advertise for my local business on the news station and I'll pay for that. So they like have the person come on the local news station, and the host is like talking about them as if they're like like a pillar of the community, and like they're just like complimenting them and being like, yeah, this dude's like real estate business is the one, but they're not necessarily like verifying what the people are selling. They're just like, oh, we needed $5,000 and this person was willing to give it to us.
Somebody actually approached our business in LA for a local news station to do this. Our work.
And then so a bunch of local news stations just took like random products, like people who would like invest money for you or whatever, and then people trusted it because it's their local news, and they're like, oh, like my city says that like this guy is like a pillar of the community, like I'll invest my money with him. But then there were just like a bunch of like scams and like weird products and like crooked things.
Interesting.
Yeah. Bummer.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
I think that's like what happens with sponsored content.
Yeah, no, it totally is. It's like the flat tummy tea manifesting in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like super pyramid scheme reminiscent. Like all the pyramid scheme influencing.
Yeah, I think so, because you're like, it's all about like somebody's credibility's on the line, you know? It's like, do you trust me? Like, it's like a charismatic person that you're supposed to put all your faith into, and then they're gonna sell you something.
Totally.
And you're just gonna trust that it's good because they're telling you it's good.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, so what else did you have in the more dystopian end of things?
So, well, in music, there's just like a bunch of examples, but basically there was this kind of confusing study by this researcher, Storm Glore, at the University of Colorado, who went through the top 30 Billboard song lyrics from 1960 to 2013, but he basically just like put all the lyrics together in like one document and then took data from that. Instead of being like, oh, there's more songs now with sponsored content, there's just more like product mentions since the year 2000.
Oh.
So the study was kind of confusing, but like more products were mentioned since the year 2000 was the point.
Okay. So there's a theory.
Right. And I think like the theory is that as I think that advertising just had to like shift.
Right. Okay, got it. Now, is the theory that this is like organic because like brand placement is so much a part of our lives that we align ourselves with a product? Or is the theory that like no, an advertising firm is approaching like a music producer or a record label and being like, we want Beyonce to sing about,
It's totally both.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Totally both. But I think it's that it was like marking a shift in advertising where like advertising groups and companies couldn't get by with just doing like magazines or like billboards or whatever. They had to like get more creative.
Yes, totally.
Or like places have always done that, but it became like more popular then. But I also think that there's like so much like world building around brands and relatability that a lot of musicians want to use brands in their music. And a lot of it's not even sponsored.
Yeah, well, we have a friend who's a musician, Baby Lungs, and they have a song all about hot chips and like Cheetos and stuff.
Totally, exactly.
And it's like a part of, it's like a way to express like their identity and their upbringing and stuff.
Yeah,
and I think that's interesting.
It is. It's like kind of like a chicken or the egg thing, I guess, where it's like, did that start because bigger artists were getting paid to do it and then it trickled down, or did artists start doing it and then brands were like, oh, we'll pay you for that?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I know for me, just like even in my life, not as a product, as a person, there are certain like shorthands I will use brands to like communicate something about my life. Like when I'm like, I didn't drink water for like the first 28 years of my life. I only drank Mountain Dew. Right. And that like tells you something that's like evocative. Like you understand about my upbringing, not because I only drank soda, but like because I drink Mountain Dew specifically.
Yeah. I mean, I find that even when I do photo shoots or like 3D pictures, I always want to like, I always like fight the urge to put certain products in because it's like totally like sets the tone.
It is really a world building thing. Yeah. You understand a lot about people based on like the products that pop up the most frequently in their life.
Yeah. So my examples were Young Lean and Fiji Water.
Yeah.
And then Cemetery and True Religion and Bang.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
But also in music, there was this crazy thing that happened. There was a Rolling Stone article in 2014 where Universal Music Group was selling ad space in old music videos. So it wasn't like, it was like ads literally like edited into the videos, like with like After Effects, you know? So it's like, it would look like in the original version, it would be like the musician standing in front of nothing, and then in the edited version, it would be the musician standing in front of like a Pepsi billboard.
Wow.
And there are even localized versions of it on Vivo, where like in New York somebody would be getting a Pepsi ad, where somebody in like LA would be getting a McDonald's ad.
Wow.
And Far East Movement did it, and for some reason Far East Movement is like always on like the cutting edge of tech. I don't even know what like any of their songs are, but both of the tech companies that I worked for were like, Far East Movement was like always like lingering around and like a goal to work with.
What is Far East Movement? It's like a band?
Yeah, no, they're like, I think they did like Far East Movement song. I think they did like a G6.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
totally.
they're
Yes,
like a
I remember
one-hit
this.
wonder.
Yeah. But they're super, super down to provide sponsored content for anybody, apparently.
Yeah, and so, but a bunch of other music videos got ads added into them, and I think it works really well for songs that are like nostalgic, so people like go back and rewatch the video all the time because they're like, oh, this was like my favorite song, and so then they like pick ads that would like make sense in the context. And it's happened with some movies too.
Really?
Yeah, it's super, super weird.
Whoa.
It's this company called Myriad, I think. Yeah, Myriad. They had a deal with Vivo.
That's so interesting.
But there's also just in general a lot of investment around like music that's super sentimental to people. Like, do you remember like, I think like a year ago, a bunch of investment firms were buying back catalogs from artists so that they could like make money off of it forever, and people were like trying to like invest in like back catalogs of like,
Oh, it's like buying art.
Yeah.
But you get royalties on it forever.
I think it's like way less of a scam than buying art. I think it's like real.
Got it. It's more of like a product.
Yeah, maybe a scam for the artist.
Yeah. Well, that's why like Taylor Swift did that whole thing where she had to like re-record everything,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
owned her masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah, capitalizing off of nostalgic music. Okay, so the CW has a deal with Microsoft, and I thought that was so funny. There's like this really funny article. I'll just read the beginning of it. It's from Vox. For much of the past decade, the characters of the CW's nighttime soap operas, Supernatural and otherwise, have been forced into an unusual predicament. They're all forced to use Bing, Microsoft's search engine.
Wow.
Moreover, they are forced to use the word Bing as a verb.
Let's Bing it.
Yeah, on the CW, Bing is the solution to all life's problems. Stepmom got fake cancer from her ex-husband? Bing it. And then it just, like, goes on and on. But it's, like, super funny because it's just, like, so absurd because nobody uses Bing.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is I feel like whatever TV network used to have the show Bones on it.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Okay, I don't know. It's some TV show. It's got Zooey Deschanel's sister in it, Emily Deschanel, right? She's like a forensic anthropologist who fights crime. It's propaganda. It's a propaganda show with bones in it. Okay. But whatever network that was had some sort of, like, sponsorship, I swear to God, with Ford. Because every time someone was in a car, they'll be like, we can take my Ford. And then it would be like a weird, like, half a second long car commercial of them in the Ford showing off a feature of the Ford. But it wasn't just Bones. It was a bunch of TV shows that were all on the same network. I just can't remember what network it was.
So funny.
But around that era, yeah.
Ford, I wonder if they have a deal with, like, a ton of country music.
Oh.
Because Ford is mentioned in everything.
Yeah, like a Ford pickup truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Very interesting.
Okay, anyways, so movies, there's like so much here, but me and my friend have been trying to make this letterbox list of movies that are technically, or like kind of ads for products.
Okay.
It's really hard because usually it's product placement. Usually the whole entire movie isn't an ad for a product.
Right.
So right now we only have two that I felt, or I mean there's like toy ones like Barbie and stuff. But,
Barbie, yeah,
oh
that's
my
a great
God,
example.
I can't even look at it though. It's so annoying. I didn't even want to mention it because it just annoys me so much.
But it's really like topical. It's really of the moment.
Right. All the
you
pink
know?
ketchup and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Like every single company like ever is doing a Barbie collab right now. Pinkberry has like pink frozen yogurt for Barbie. There's like a Barbie food pop up at the Century City Mall.
Wow.
Yeah, it's.
I had no idea. I think the thing that comes to mind for me for movies is the movie that actually makes a parody of it. Actually, this is similar. Okay, because you texted me about the Morgan Spurlock movie.
Yeah.
And there's actually an acted version of a movie that does exactly that same thing, which is the Josie and the Pussycats movie.
Oh, no way. You keep telling me to watch that.
You haven't seen it?
No, you've told me to watch
God.
it like 20 times.
It's the best movie. Okay, so the Josie and the Pussycats movie, the whole premise is that the record labels are using subliminal messaging behind pop songs to convince teenagers to buy shit they don't need. And that's like what drives the US economy. And these record labels are in with like the military industrial complex and like the US government.
That's what the Josie and the Pussycats movies are?
Yes, and the main villains are Alan Cumming and Parker Posey. Parker Posey is the head of the record label, and Alan Cumming is like the liaison that deals with her and the US government. So the whole premise of the movie is that they have a boy band called Du Jour, which has Seth Green in it, who's one of my favorite actors from the era. And they find out that there's subliminal messaging in their songs, so the US government kills them, has them killed, and needs to replace them instantly with a new pop group. And they find Josie and the Pussycats playing on the street, and they're like, that's it, we're gonna make you famous. Like, you're the new it group. So the whole premise of the movie is all about subliminal advertising and like commerce and consumerism. But because of that, every single part of the movie is super branded whenever you get into like the pop star world. So like, if they're in a hotel room, it's like the hotel room sponsored by Target, and everything has Target ads all over it. Yeah, or like one of them is like Tara Reid's character's taking like a shower, and the whole bathroom sponsored by McDonald's.
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
You have to watch it. It's one of the best movies ever, and it's so funny, and it's like such a good statement about like consumerism. And there's like a scene where they're in the mall, and Alan Cumming's character is like testing a new subliminal track like at the record store in the mall, seeing how everybody responds to it. And then there's this, like, super, like, goth girl there. And she's like, I don't listen to this bullshit. And he's like, you're a real free thinker, aren't you? And then he gets on, like, an intercom and, like, alerts basically the Secret Service. And is like, we have a Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's the code. And they, like, abduct her and they use her for market research.
Oh, I want to watch it so
it's
bad.
Such a good movie.
We should watch all three tonight.
Okay, that one. What's the Morgan Spurlock one?
There's two. There's, what was it called? I texted it to you. Well, there's What Would Jesus Buy?
Oh, yeah. And Morgan Spurlock's involved with that one too.
Yeah, and then The Greatest Movie Ever Sold that was made by Palm.
Okay, so
the pomegranate juice.
I did see The Greatest Movie Ever Sold when it came out, but my memory is so garbage. But that was really when he was like hot. You
watch
know?
all three tonight.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think that's perfect.
Okay, so Top Gun is basically the whole movie is an ad for the U.S. military.
Yes.
And there's this statistic that everybody says about how when the first Top Gun came out, military enrollment went up by 500%.
Really?
But military.com, or like, I think it was military.com.
Military.com's a great URL
right.
also.
They say that that's a falsified statistic.
Okay.
But I've heard it like a bunch of times, so it's like, who's to say? And then the other one that we came up with was The Secret. You know the movie for the book The Secret?
I didn't realize there was a movie.
Yeah, okay. So it's this movie that I think like Ryan Gosling is in it, or like some like really like
heartthrobby.
Yeah, somebody that you would just like expect to be in like the rom-com. And it's a movie about like some nice people, and because they have like a positive attitude, good stuff just keeps happening to them even when life gets tough and like their roof is caving in. Then a super hot guy shows up to fix it.
Wow.
And if you saw the movie without knowing that there was like, The Secret's not like a cult, but it's like,
it's culty.
It's like some, yeah, I don't know.
All that self-help stuff can get really culty.
Yeah. It's like some kind of scam, and so I think if you like watched that and you didn't know about The Secret and then you found out about it, you'd be like, oh my god, you know, because it like feels so positive, it could really trick you.
Yeah, that's like the toxic positivity thing though.
Yeah.
Toxic positivity is kind of like advertising. It's like, you're gonna be rich and skinny and carefree. Toxic positivity culture.
Totally.
Yeah, it's kind of the same.
It's like it's aspirational.
It's all aspirational advertising and self-help.
Okay, so then my favorite movie, SponCon, this was like a huge realization for me. So there's like types of produce or there's like organizations around types of produce to promote the types of produce. So
Like lobbying groups for produce.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's the National Watermelon Promotion Board, and it's like they have to fight for grocery store shelf space. So watermelon in the summer isn't necessarily like a given. People have to be like convinced that they want it. So watermelon has to be like romanticized and sold to them. And so the National Watermelon Promotion Board, I want to read this like report that they did after, but they paid Disney Pixar to use watermelon in this movie Luca. I don't know what the movie is, but it's like all these like cartoon characters eating watermelon, and there's just like tons of examples of this.
Wow.
It's like, it's really cool. I just like never thought that like you wouldn't just like intuitively just like get watermelon.
Right, but that's like a subliminal message we've all
Yeah.
consumed. Yeah, one of the things...
Well, no, because the farmer's market, or I guess I don't know if I've ever seen watermelon at the farmer's market, but you know, like there are like fruit seasons.
Yeah, there's seasonal fruit for sure. Yeah, but you do have to be like...
Grocery stores, though, it's like competitive for the shelf space.
Right. So you have to like help sell it to the consumer to create the demand.
Right.
You have to falsify the demand.
Right.
Yeah, that's like the whole thing about advertising is you're just like falsifying all this demand. You know what's interesting too is like this isn't like a product placement, but this does have to do with like media and how like movies can be manipulated. We might have talked about this in our episode we did about like the CIA. But during the Cold War, the USSR was always harping on the United States for being so racist. And a lot of prominent, like, black thinkers from the United States went to the USSR. Like, I think, like, Du Bois went there or something and was like, yeah, this is the first time in my life I've ever felt just, like, a man and not a black man somewhere. So the USSR was like, yeah, the United States is super fucking racist. Like, capitalism and white supremacy are, like, entrenched. They're interlinked. Like, in the USSR, they, like... For a while, it was, like, illegal to be racist. Like, if you did anything racist, like, a person could citizens arrest you. And, like, this one guy told a story about being black on a train and seeing a guy make a racist remark. And the train... It was a bus, sorry. And the bus stopped. And all these other white people on the bus, like, grabbed the guy who said the racist thing and, like, took him off the bus and, like, took him to jail. And were like, this man did a racism, take him away. So this was, like, something the USSR was really, like, talking about a lot during the Cold War. Especially, like, your country sucks. Like, it's not even that good for white people. Yeah. And if you're not white, it's totally fucked. So then the CIA went to, like, all of the film people in Los Angeles.
Oh, I know about this.
Yes, and they were like, everybody keeps saying that we're super, super racist, so you have to put so many black and brown and Asian extras in the background of every single movie to make it look like the United States is really, really diverse. So, of course, they didn't, like, cast people in leading roles. They were just, like, stack the backgrounds with a diverse range of people so we look like we're not racist so Russia can stop doing this to us.
Yeah, this is a part of the military entertainment complex.
Yeah, so the movies are SponCon, sometimes just for the country.
Yeah.
Sometimes the United States is sponsoring movies.
I was going to get to that.
Okay.
There's a huge Pentagon list of those.
Oh, wow. All right. Okay, I'm excited.
Okay, so I guess this isn't like a really... Or I guess it is kind of SponCon. But it's just like so crazy that watermelon.org by the...
the website name.
The National Watermelon Promotion Board wrote this report. I won't read the whole thing, but more consumers believe watermelon isn't just for picnics anymore, as they are buying watermelon on a weekly basis for snacks and fruit salads, according to new consumer market research conducted by the National Watermelon Promotion Board. The availability of a wide array of fresh-cut choices in the produce department is encouraging new segments of consumers, especially small families and singles, to buy watermelon more frequently. They're choosing watermelon cut into halves, quarters, and cubes, or already folded into ready-made fruit salads.
Oh, because the watermelon itself is cumbersome.
Yeah,
it's
but
too
it's
large.
Like, it's just so interesting, like, how they're, like, thinking about, like, how to sell watermelon to a single person better.
Yes.
And then they even go as far as to say that people are making flower vases out of emptied out watermelons.
Okay.
And they're trying to promote this as an idea, a craft idea on their website, to buy a watermelon and take all the fruit out and then fill it with flowers.
Oh, yeah, and you have a picture here, and it's actually pretty beautiful.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would not imagine it
just
being...
like the links that they're...
Yeah, they're really trying to use the whole watermelon.
Yeah, like
I respect that.
But then, also in terms of movies, I was thinking about Repo Man. I listened to a podcast about it, but it's like the opposite of sponsored content. You know how it's like all generic products in the movie? So there's also this brand. My friend applied to work at this brand where she was going to get to design generic products for movies.
Oh, that's so good.
I know, it was going to be so cool.
My friend actually showed me, okay, so my friend in New York, their roommates had like a little house party and they left a window open and then a feral cat got in, right? And now the feral cat just lives in their pantry. So then my friend was like, okay, well, like the feral cat needs to eat food or it'll die. So then they went to the corner store to get food for the cat, and they showed me what the cat food looked like, and it literally just said like cat food, but cat was spelled with a K, and it looked like super generic. And I told them this morning, I was like, this looks like fake cat food that would be in the background of an 80s movie.
Wait, so sick, I want to see.
Okay,
yeah, well,
this
was like a thing in like in like the mid 70s, I guess. Generic products became super popular because of inflation.
Yes, inflation was wild in the 70s.
Yeah, and so then all these movies were like including it. And there was like, I was reading a message board about this, and there was a conspiracy. Let me see if I can find where I wrote it down. I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't write it down. But there's like, I don't know, whatever. There's also like a bunch of Christmas tree air fresheners in Repo Man in like almost every scene.
I did not notice that.
I didn't notice it either, but there's like some kind of like inside joke in a bunch of other movies too where they all use the Christmas tree air fresheners, and all these people on this forum were trying to figure out if they were sponsored by the Christmas tree air freshener company or if they're just using it as like a joke because like the plots are so like Repo Man's like an alien movie, or it's not.
It's not. It's like a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it's like a sci-fi movie. Like the plots are so wild, and to just have like this super normal little air freshener, if like that's the whole joke, or if it's like a...
I feel like it's kind of like Americana culture. It's like the red Solo cup of the car.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
So, I'm so bummed I don't have the specific theory that they were saying. I thought I wrote it down.
That's okay. I think it's still interesting.
But other iconic examples are Juno and Sunny D.
Oh.
You know, at the beginning.
I don't remember that part of Juno, but I remember Juno.
It, like, stuck with me forever, and then I was always, like, I don't know, it, like, totally, like, made me want to drink, like, a huge jug of orange juice, because, like, her vibe was so, like, cool.
I see. Interesting.
And then Reese's Pieces paid a ton of money to be in E.T.
Yes.
And I haven't seen E.T. for a really long time, so I don't really remember exactly how
it's like
incorporated.
Drew Barrymore, I think, as a little baby, gives the alien a Reese's Pieces and then like leaves them for the alien to like follow to like get to safety. It's like a really important part of the movie.
Well, supposedly Reese's Pieces sales jumped 80% after that.
Wow.
That's a lot.
It's a lot for sure. It's definitely a lot. Huh. I mean, I feel like in Seinfeld, there was, like, an opposite thing that happened where they had an episode about Mentos, and they, like, dropped Mentos into a person's body during, like, an open surgery where they were in the galley. No, it was, like, an accident. And then I think that they originally had wanted it to be, like, something else that was funnier, they thought. But then they approached the company, and they're like, hey, can we use your item in this way? And they're like, no, it makes us look really bad. You can't. And, like, Mentos was the one that was like, we don't care, fucking party. Sure, drop a Mentos in a dead guy. I don't know. Yeah, but they were like, we couldn't get anybody to clear us using their brand name except for Mentos.
That reminds me of a secret that I know about Imvu.
But you can't share it.
Oh, I guess I shouldn't say it.
No,
That's
it's a secret.
I'll tell you later.
Wow.
It's about them being secretly in stuff.
Wow.
I'll tell you later.
It's exciting. I like the conspiratorial thinking. You know what else I just thought about? Remember how you were talking about the skate kids putting like the DC logos on them and stuff? It made me think about Fern at our work, one of our coworkers.
Oh, yeah, she's got a whole bunch of brand tattoos.
Yeah, she's got a Jenko tattoo.
Vivian Westwood.
She's got, the Vivian
World
Westwood.
Industries.
She's got the Spitfire.
I think that's World Industries.
Is that World Industries?
Okay,
yeah.
I thought,
maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's really cool looking, too.
Any logos tattooed?
No, I don't have any. Do you?
I don't think I do.
No, nothing.
I have another friend with Vivienne Westwood too, though.
Yeah. It's cool. People like brands. People like them.
People like brands.
Yeah, we turn our bodies into billboards.
Yeah.
Okay, so your last thing you have is the army?
Sorta. Okay, so I guess I'm saying this as if, like, I'm treating the army as a product or business that's...
It is. I think that's
right.
safe. Yeah, that's fair.
I thought that would be okay. So it's called the Military Entertainment Complex because the Department of Defense works on, like, tons of movies. And there's, like, this whole email exchange with this guy and the Pentagon about the Freedom of Information Act, where he was like, oh, like, I want to know what movies and, like, what's the list. So the Pentagon has, like, this huge list of all the movies that it's been involved with. And it's, none of them are, like, that surprising. It was, like, Top Gun, all the James Bond movies, Iron Man, Godzilla, Wonder Woman, King Kong, Transformers, Karate Kid. But some of the movies even use, like, real soldiers.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really crazy, like, how much they, like, work together.
Yeah, it's like a whole propaganda wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a job in, like, I just learned this. Somebody that my friend is dating's, like, boyfriend's sister's girlfriend or whatever worked for the Donald Trump, like, propaganda department.
Yeah.
And I know that's also a job in China, too, like, the propaganda chiefs. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's, like, a common job.
Yeah.
But there's also, like, a ton of video games, including one that the U.S. Army made that you could play at Fuddruckers.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really, really crazy.
I think that our propaganda is more dystopian here. Because, like, I have seen one of the China,
totally.
like, quote-unquote, like, propaganda websites. But it's literally them just being like, the United States said all this shit, and it's not true, and here's some data. And you're like, okay, I'm sure, like, you know, the whole thing is, like, there's 3 sides to every story. Mm-hmm. But, like, I read this guy on Twitter once say, like, I'm old enough now to realize if your entire political stance is America bad, and whatever the United States tells you, you should believe, you're just like, I don't know, America bad, so that's probably not right. You'll probably end up on the right side of history most of the time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've never been able to get that out of my head.
No,
so
yeah,
even when I
good.
read, like, the Chinese website that's just them being like, here's all the shit the United States said about us, here's how it's not true, I'm always like, you know what, America bad.
I mean, there's, like, all these art books of, like, Chinese propaganda, though, and it is, like, for, like, family planning and stuff, but the messages will be like, eat healthy, or like it's like it's not like it's like
it's like
it's
wholesome.
It's like oh, okay,
that's like some USSR propaganda where it would be like, learn to read, it's nice,
yeah,
you know, and you'd be like, oh, this is their propaganda. Our propaganda is like, go murder innocent people in other countries, haha, we'll pay for your college, haha, we're the good guys, and you're like, oh shit, this is fucked up. Yeah, propaganda does manifest different ways, different places, for sure.
Okay, well, so that brings me to for a year it got shut down, but for a year the U.S. Army had an esports channel on Twitch. Whoa. Where there's like a picture of like all these soldiers like on computers. It looks like a LAN party, where they're just like or I don't know, they're military personnel. I don't know if everybody's a soldier. I don't know the distinctions. Okay. But they're all playing video games and just streaming them on Twitch. And then they chat with kids. And so the kids are like, whoa, dude, like, you're so good at, like, running people over in Grand Theft Auto or whatever. And then they, like, sort of warp the conversation. So they'll be, like, casual conversations, like, being like, oh, like, I'm just, like, having a snack and, like, playing games. Like, I'm just like you. It's, like, so chill, whatever. And then they'll, like, start talking about, like, the benefits of being in the military. Or, like, they'll mention that they're in the military and, like, how it's so awesome. And, like, you know,
this is a recruiting technique.
Yeah, it is.
Whoa.
And I thought that was really interesting. And like talk to the kids just like about like life stuff. I don't know, it's weird.
Wow.
And then this was an extra, but I kind of like want to play it. Do I have permission to play a music video or no?
I don't know how it works with copyright, but you know what we can do? We can link it on our Patreon. Okay. So if anybody wants to see Lucy's magical mystery music video, it'll be up on our Patreon.
It's a music video made by 2 military recruiters. Where they're rapping, and they like use like whatever military place they're at as like the set for their music video, and they're like rapping about how the uniforms were free, and like it's like really funny. It's really funny.
Whoa.
Really crazy. And then okay, so there was this Dazed article about e-girls who were doing influencing for the army, because I think that is Gen Z like the youngest?
Yeah.
Okay,
well, there's Gen Alpha after them, but they're pretty
so,
young.
So Gen Z is like more progressive than any other generation.
Right.
So the military's been having a hard time getting people to sign up.
So proud of you guys. You're doing such a good job. Don't get recruited.
They've been using e-girls to do recruiting. And do you know this influencer, Haley Lujan?
No, but I've seen this with like the Israeli army. They'll have really cute girls who are
it's exactly what
I'm just murdering people, but I'm cute. Haha.
Yeah, and they make all these like she makes like outfits with her gun, and she'll like post like
this is so
she
wild.
posts like an outfit of the day that's like a gold hat, which is like trendy right now, like the indie
this picture
hat.
Is wild.
And then her gun, Levi's shorts, red cowboy boots, and then the shirt says, "I have a gun and I'm schizophrenic."
And then there's a pocket full of money.
Right. And
this is very like Vice core.
Yeah.
This is very like edgelord Vice, like haha. It's so edgy to join the military and murder people.
And then that's her with like cat ears on.
Wow.
In a sailor outfit.
This is really
she's
dystopian.
Like, she's actively in the army, and obviously they know that she's doing this. She's got like 1 billion followers. I don't know about like the actual number.
Yeah, she has a lot of followers.
Yeah.
This is so wild. It's really unsettling.
It's really unsettling. But that's basically like all of my examples. I had like other like things to reference. Like how energy drinks fill up their bottles with water and give them to professional athletes.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why, like, they're always drinking, like, Gatorade or whatever. A lot of times they're just drinking, like, yellow water, because the pro athletes, like, would never consume Gatorade.
That's so interesting.
And then the military also sponsors I think it's popular with like race car stuff. They'll sponsor events in exchange for salutes at the events.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That's so wild. I've definitely been to like the racetrack, like the Irwindale Speedway.
Yeah, and they do the Pledge of Allegiance.
They do a whole bunch of like military stuff. Yeah. It's pretty wild. Even like I went to my boyfriend's family's reunion recently, and my boyfriend's family's really, really big. So usually when we go, it's like the West Coast people. But we went to like an East Coast family reunion, and it was in Alabama. And before they started the family reunion, they did like a salute to the military members. And we were just like...
the family?
Just at the family reunion. But his family's huge. So it was like a lot of people. But we were like, whoa, what is happening? And it's not like anybody's old enough that they were like drafted into wars. These were all people who like chose to engage in service.
Whoa.
So it was very, very strange. It was we were like, oh, cool. This is not our belief system at all. Okay. You know?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people have a hard time, like even like ACAB people have a hard time like understanding and conceptualizing of the military as like a global police force that like upholds American imperialism abroad.
A lot of people are trained that it's like the only upward mobility.
Yeah, for sure.
And like a lot of my family is like that.
Yeah, I mean, I have a military family. My whole family was in the military. My brother is currently in the military. You know, he didn't have a lot of options. He didn't think. I have a half brother, and I only saw him for 6 months as a baby, and then I didn't see him again until my grandma died a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about him really. But yeah, I think that like, I don't know, the military thing is really interesting. Even like somebody I know, one of their old friends was going through a hard time, and like at age 40 just like told one of their other friends like, yeah, everything's gonna be okay though because they just joined the military. Like if you want to sign up, here's a link, you can too. And they're like, no, that's not really our thing,
I get
man.
It's like it's like a different version of like getting in so over your head. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go to rehab.
It's like life
or like
rehab.
joining a religion or
or
a cult.
a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It is very cult-like. It's pretty wild. Yeah. I think that, like, I have all these, like, belief systems that at different points in my life have been, like, too radical to, like, share publicly. Like, I remember that maybe 10 years ago, I talked about, like, not supporting the military on the internet, just, like, really briefly as a throwaway. And my friend and I both were like, yeah, no, we don't fuck with that. That's, like, cops all over. That's American cops all over the world harming people, killing people. Like, we don't do that. We're not into that. And somehow the military found out about it. And then it was my friend Kennedy. And started harassing me and Kennedy, like, for, like, a whole week. They were, like, harassing us. And they, like, got a hold of her email
like
address.
Their social media accounts or what?
Yeah, but it was, like, through, like, a work thing somehow. It was, like, this weird, complicated... It was, like, fashion and the military and us, and then us versus the military. Well, basically, it ended with them, like, the only thing they could really do is they found her email address and signed her up for a bunch of junk mail websites.
So they just, like, pranked her?
Yeah, they tried to prank her.
They do that. They were doing that on Twitch. They had, like, fake links that were, like, you won something... And then you'd, like, click, and then it would just be a sign-up sheet.
Yeah.
They do a bunch of pranks.
So they did that.
Weird.
They pranked us because they were mad because we did not support American imperialism.
They sent her a bunch of junk mail?
Yes, but, I mean, like, that was 10 years ago. Like, even now, 10 years later, I feel like if I say, like, no, I don't support the military, it's less shocking and incendiary to people. So I feel like the thing we were talking about, like, how Gen Z's, like, further left, and it's, like, I think information as it becomes more readily available, like via things like the internet, like you have more info at your disposal, right? And you read more books and you learn about things that our own government admits that they have done, you know? And it gets harder and harder to, like, believe, you know, the Top Gun propaganda machine that's like, U.S. good, we're great. And then you start reading things and you're like, why do we have so many military bases all over the world? Like, what was our involvement in the Vietnam War again? Like, why is Laos the most heavily bombed country on earth? Like, what did we do in Cambodia and why? And then you're like, oh, there's no explanation for any of this.
I think a lot of people won't ask, though.
And then they'll just join. They'll watch Top Gun and they'll just join.
I mean, I think so.
Yeah, maybe it's getting better, though.
Well, I guess my generation. Our generation
Are you a millennial?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a millennial too. Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah. Okay, wait. So you have some good examples of brand collaborations you liked.
Okay. It's just a list.
Okay, let's just do it as a list.
Okay, Betsy Johnson Kleenex.
Wait, is that real?
Yeah, the Kleenexes look like leather jackets with a zipper.
What?
I think I have a picture. Wait.
Okay.
I won't. They can't see, so it's not useful.
No, that's okay.
So Online Ceramics does like a bunch, and like Supreme and Streetwear brands do a bunch, but Online Ceramics did the Silent Hill one that was like really bad.
It's just like licensed products.
I'm not sure.
It's like licensing.
I guess that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess a lot of them are just licensed. But Uniqlo right now is doing an LA restaurant shirt series.
What?
Yeah, there's like a Burger She Wrote Uniqlo shirt. Whoa. And there's a Pizzanista Uniqlo shirt. It's super weird. But they also did the Sofia Coppola shirts.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what Uniqlo is on.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And then there was this mysterious Amy's ASOS shirt that I found on eBay. Whoa. But I couldn't find out any information about it. But like Amy's organic, like the frozen food. And then who we
found out they're evil now.
Right. They're canceled.
Yeah.
But I guess they did a collaboration with ASOS at some point.
Wow.
And then I had Celine at the Wiltern on the list.
Oh yeah, that was the fashion show that broke LA.
Yeah, and
when that fashion show happened, everyone like lost it over how much they hated it, and then there was like a war on the streets basically in Los Angeles that night. Like we were out at a bar and people showed up with the Celine bags who had been to the shows, and we were just like, these fucking losers, and then everyone on Twitter was losing their mind about Celine at the Wiltern.
And then it was like such a status thing to be invited, but then really you're just there making sponsored content. You're like showing off that you're the fact that you were invited, but then you're really just like making yourself a billboard for the brand. And the clothes are so ugly, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, so my best friend's like a really successful makeup artist, so she does a bunch of stuff, and one of the things I thought was like really cool that she did is she did this like MAC event, and MAC had like a sponsored content booth at the event where you could go use the product inside this little booth that was like private and make your own content in there. And I was like, let's just get down to it. Like, I like this. At least it's honest. You know?
I mean, I think like so many events have stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I like it when it's really upfront and forthright. Yeah, and you're like, that's what everybody's here for. Like, also if you go to, God, what's that social club in LA that everybody goes to?
Soho House?
Soho House. If you go to Soho House, there's a Soho House content room
it's fucking
at the one
crazy.
downtown.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is really dystopian.
It's super dystopian. Yeah, but it's also kind of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the Museum of Selfies and like all those selfie museums where it's
Right.
just like made for that.
It's pretty interesting.
I thought that a good selfie museum style museum would be an advertising one because there's so many crazy ads.
Mm-hmm.
There should be one.
You could be in the ads.
Yeah, and it could be like, because a lot of them are like the history of something or like museum of ice cream, and then it like you learn about ice cream.
That's actually a good segue into some stuff I have to talk about sponsored content, and it is the history of sponsored content, like where it comes from. So you know, obviously, I think a lot of us when we think about sponsored content now, like I mentioned, we think about the internet, right? But even before like Instagram became the ubiquitous advertising machine it is today, like in 2010, Kim Kardashian was still doing sponsored content, just not on Instagram. So she did this celebrity endorsement of Charmin toilet paper where she stood outside of like public bathrooms and handed you Charmin before you went in, but like IRL. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
And also, like, Snoop Dogg once endorsed Hot Pockets and had a whole music video with a parody track of Drop It Like It's Hot, but it was Pocket Like It's Hot.
That's
and he
so
made, like, a
sick.
whole music video. Katy Perry also once made an expansion pack for The Sims 3 where she sang her songs in Simlish. And then also,
Right.
Method Man once recorded a full rap song for Sour Patch Kids.
Whoa.
So really, yeah, like the root of sponsored content is just celebrity endorsement, and just like it plays out so many different ways now. And it goes back to like 1760, which was like the first example of celebrity endorsement for a company that I could find, which is when Wedgwood used their connection to the royal family to sell like plates, like dinner plates that you eat off of.
Oh, is that like the plates that have like the porcelain plates with like the king and queen like printed on them?
Oh my God, it might be. I'm not sure, but it was the whole thing about like fit for a king. They were literally using the king as an influencer to be like, the king likes our plates, you should buy our plates, they're fit for a king. And then like in the United States, I feel like our first like real pop culture introduction to this idea of celebrity endorsement really hit hard in the 1920s with baseball players and movie stars. They started doing all sorts of product stuff, and then by the 1960s we had TV presenters, kind of like the news thing you were talking about, doing paid endorsements like in between variety act shows, you know, and now a word from our sponsors, but it would be a TV presenter just going to a different section of the studio and being like, here's this soap, I like this soap, use this soap. It's very like podcast style when podcasters record their own ads to play in between.
Yeah.
So the TV presenters would be doing this, like cigarettes or whatever. They'd be just kind of hawking in between the content for the actual TV show. But like from the 1960s to the 1990s, it was pretty easy to know what was an ad and what wasn't, right? You could tell. You're like, now they are selling me soap. Now we're back to the show.
I would argue though that there was still a lot of like product placement.
Yeah, I think
Not less popular, but there was still some.
Yeah, there was definitely still product placement for sure. But I think like most consumers knew when an ad was happening, unless it was like in a movie or something, and there'd be product placement for sure. But all of this was more clear back then because there were advertising standards that were federally laid out in the United States from the FCC, where they're like, you have to disclose when you're advertising these specific things. And it was more like up to date with media technology back then. Versus now, media technology moves so fast, it's so hard to make regulations that are up to date with that. So
I think there was like a thing like that in the UK, like certain songs that were like too ad heavy weren't like allowed to be played on on like BBC. They like wouldn't play certain songs that were like too product placement heavy.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, these like celebrity endorsements were obviously super massive. Like everybody from supermodels to athletes for a long time, that would be like your transition out of the job. You'd be like, well, I'm too old for this now. My body's aging out of it. So now I'll just do endorsements and advertisements, and that's how I'll make money. And it got to the point where like in the 90s, if you were to sign a celebrity endorsement, like as a business, if you were a business signing on a celebrity endorsement, it could cause the value of your stock to rise an average of 4% just from doing that. Because people knew that this is something that was like going to result in more sales for your company. Okay, I had to go get my dog because she was whining outside the door because she wanted to hang out. Little Forky. She's doing better now. Yeah, so the celebrity endorsement thing was super, super prevalent. Like the 1984 Nike Air Jordan campaign is considered one of the most successful celebrity endorsements in history. So 25 years after it happened, like by 2009, the Nike Jordan brand dominated 75% of basketball shoe sales and almost 11% of overall shoe sales in the United States.
Whoa, that's really crazy.
Yes, and also the most expensive advertising campaign of all time was the celebrity endorsement campaign, and it was Chanel in 2004. It cost $33 million to make one ad, and $3 million of it alone just went to Nicole Kidman, who starred in the video. God. And it was like maybe like a Moulin Rouge thing, if I remember right.
It's really interesting though how that, like, why they would want that, because it's like that's only about world building.
Yeah, it's totally
like it's gonna take them so long to make that money back.
Right, it is. But I mean, that's the thing about advertising. Advertising is all about like subtlety and repetition. Mm-hmm. Like that's what you want.
Making a household name.
Yeah, building a household name. And it all has to do with this thing they call affective conditioning, which is basically like, look, we're an advertiser. We're going to take a product and we're going to place it next to something we already know consumers like. You know? So, for example, consumers like Nicole Kidman, take the perfume and put it next to Nicole Kidman, boom, now all of a sudden the consumers like the perfume too. And this is actually pretty effective because, yeah, if you feel positive about a celebrity, you'll feel positive about any product that's next to that celebrity. Then, though, all of this starts happening and getting really prevalent, and all these people are dumping millions and millions of dollars into it, but at the same time, something major is happening that's shifting the entire landscape of advertising, and it's the internet. So the internet, obviously in the 90s, started to, get going. People started using the internet regularly. But by like the early 2000s, it was really becoming more and more commonplace. So as the internet got more prevalent, all of advertising had to change instantly to keep up with it. Suddenly there's this like whole new world of potential advertising at our fingertips. But users of the internet also pretty fast start to get these things called ad blinders that they weren't already getting for things like commercials on TV or product placement in movies. And this is literally that when you looked at like a website or a search engine, there are certain locations that lended themselves to ads, like the top of the website or the sidebars of the website. And consumers just started to get these blinders psychologically where they wouldn't even register what was happening there. So, this meant that advertisers had to come up with a new way to try to figure out how ads worked on the internet, because it wasn't like a billboard or like a magazine ad. It just didn't do anything. So 70 to 80% of users were ignoring sponsored search results, for example, around this time period. And with online advertising, that meant that the goal suddenly began making ads integrate seamlessly into user experiences. So they would feel more organic and less ad-like, and they would be harder to ignore. So there was this article on The Drum that talked about this, and they said, look, Facebook began making money from advertising almost immediately once the site came about in 2004. But these were mostly text-based ads that appeared on the sidebar, and they were offered at a CPC basis, which is like a charge per click basis. So when somebody clicked on it, then you would get charged, right? In 2008, though, Facebook opened the Pages feature for brands, and in 2009, brands could set up and run their own ads on the platform. By 2011, content from brand pages began appearing in users' news feeds, and there would be fine print on them that read, "You are seeing this because you like brand XYZ. A sponsor paid to feature it here." And it was only a year later that Facebook ads and news feeds were clearly marked as sponsored when they popped up. So you wouldn't even know, really, unless you looked for the fine print, that you were seeing an ad. And as this was happening, Twitter in around 2010 began testing promoted tweets just appearing in your user feed without you really realizing it was an ad. And in 2013, Associated Press did this deal with Samsung that was kind of like third-party sponsored content, but like more rough around the edges and too direct, where they just let Samsung tweet as the Associated Press on their page its own ads.
Whoa.
Yeah. And this would like bypass Twitter's ad model, and all of the Associated Press's followers would see these Samsung ads in their feed. So then in November of 2013, Instagram advertising, as we think of it today, came about, and Instagram ran officially its first ad. Do you remember what it was?
No.
Okay. I didn't know what it was either, and if you had asked me, I would not have thought it was this in a million years. But I do remember the shift and being like, oh my God, now there's ads on Instagram. But it was a Michael Kors advertisement.
What?
Yeah, and it just popped up in your feed automatically without you following anything. It was clearly marked sponsored, but everybody flipped out. Everyone was just like, what the fuck is this? It was like the equivalent of Apple putting that U2 album on everybody's iPods.
Oh.
Everyone's like, I did not ask for this.
Not everybody gets ads on their Instagram. Some people do and some people don't.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
Yeah, one of my friends has never gotten one before, but there's this really, really cool zine about ads on Instagram. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's good.
Worth it. It's really, really cool. I wish I knew the name of the person who made it. But basically, lots of people have Facebook pages, just like regular people have Facebook pages for their small businesses. And anybody with a Facebook page can create an Instagram ad. And it, like, have you ever made an Instagram ad?
Yeah, we do them for work when we do sales. So every time we have a sale, we make an Instagram ad.
So, like, on Facebook, for people who don't know, on Facebook, you select things that are similar to the thing that you're selling that the people who would buy it would also be interested in. So, you, like, do you remember doing that?
No, we never did that because we just let the algorithm at work automatically do it. So it'll be like, let us choose, automatic.
Oh, well, I thought that part of it was really dystopian. But anyway, you pay for the amount of people that you want to reach. So obviously a big brand can pay more money and reach more people. But this person made this zine where they kept reporting all of the big company commercial ads until they started only getting personal ads for like small businesses. So it'd be like super, super weird stuff, like just like a random person with like 2 followers like taking pictures of like their dinner, promoting some like
just
meal
themselves.
coaching.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
it's
so
really
interesting.
cool. So report all your ads till you get personal ads, I guess.
Also, there was this thing that was a trend a while ago where people realized you could download your data from Facebook and see what marketing segmentation they put you in. Did you look at yours?
That stuff is so interesting.
I looked at mine. Mine was not super accurate, but some of it was. I'd say it was 50% accurate.
I don't know if I really remember, but it's like so creepy that they have like a list of all of your interests.
They have a dossier on us. But when this Michael Kors ad like ran on Instagram, even though everybody claimed they hated it, the Michael Kors Instagram account got 34,000 new followers within 18 hours.
Moms.
So it worked. The moms were into it. By 2013, though, ad blocking was on the rise, and the FTC was trying to introduce regulations for like how we deal with digital advertising, much like they had for TV when ads started happening. They're like, okay, we got to regulate this. Now they're like, how the fuck do we regulate this on the internet? And meanwhile, while all this was going on, influencers were starting to get more popular. And these would just be people who just started building followings online for who knows what reason. And this wasn't super new. Like back in the days of MySpace, there were influencers who had like so many followers and you didn't really understand why this was going on. But they were getting more mainstream just because like Instagram wasn't as niche as MySpace was. It reached a lot of people and more people were getting exposed to this.
Was there SponCon on MySpace?
Okay, so I don't remember SponCon on MySpace except for bands.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was
But
thinking.
they probably wouldn't pay you. They'd just be like, you're really cool.
Yeah.
But the first thing I remember happening on MySpace that was like, whoa, was Nasty Gal. When Nasty Gal came out, it was just an eBay store, but they created a personal MySpace account before like any brands had MySpace accounts, and they would friend request girls they thought dressed cool.
Wow.
So if you got a Nasty Gal friend request, it meant you had good style. So when it happened, you'd be like, oh my God, my friend had already got one, so I knew it was cool.
Did it happen to you?
Yes, I did. yes. But that was kind of like, whoa. So it felt like you were in like an inside club, and now all of a sudden you could see updates about their eBay store and like what was dropping when, and they utilized social media marketing really well.
Parade, how Parade uses micro influencers. And then people are like excited that a brand has reached out to them. So then they're like, oh yeah, I'll take an underwear picture for you for my social media
for
in
free.
Your ugly granny panties.
Yeah, I'll take 600. Whatever. Yeah. I think they're cute though. You don't like them?
No, I think they're granny panties.
Okay, I like granny panties, I guess. Yeah, so the influencers are starting to go mainstream, and marketers meanwhile were realizing like, wait, we can use these social media platforms of these just like kids in their bedrooms who have like hundreds of thousands of followers for some reason, the same way we would use celebrity endorsements for products in the past, bypassing traditional ad regulations and paying way, way less for this type of content than a celebrity would ever charge us. It's like so cheap. All while presenting this seamlessly integrated advertising model that felt less like paid content and more like honest endorsement. And people even started to do this with the news. Do you know about this?
No.
Okay, so according to the Content Promotion Manifesto, brands spent approximately 6.7% of their content marketing budget on sponsored content in 2013 for news sources, including places like the New York Times and Forbes.
No way.
Yes. So There's this evidence showing that audience engagement with sponsored news posts is much higher than other forms of advertising, and the New York Times claimed that readers spend the same amount of time reading a sponsored article as they would reading just like a traditional news story.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
If it's interesting enough, right? And then there was a similar study on Sharethrough and IPG Media Labs, and they found that consumers look at sponsored articles actually more than usual editorial articles and spend a similar time reading these different types of content together.
That makes sense, though, because it's like, I think a lot of people don't read the news and then they're like already on Instagram and they're like, oh, crazy headline.
Yeah, that could be. It's more like clickbaity. It's less like journalistic integrity or whatever to uphold. Yeah. But now that like I know about Operation Mockingbird and all of like the CIA propaganda things, I'm like, was there ever journalistic integrity? And then I feel like the meme of Charlie Day with all the stuff on the wall and the strings, right? But yeah, so the content that influencers on the internet started sharing wasn't too different, relatively speaking, to how like these news stories were doing the sponsored content too. So this is all kind of happening at the same time. It's kind of like a bubbling up effect across multiple industries. Basically, people started to use their social media platforms effectively as billboards to share products with their followers. And this like is maybe the extension of something that was happening as early as 2009 when the New York Times ran this article called "The Body as Billboard, Your Ad Here." And in it, they talked about a few people, but one of the people they talked about was this woman named Terry Gardner, who was a legal secretary in California, who was 50 years old, and she shaved her head for an advertising campaign done by Air New Zealand. What? So basically, Air New Zealand hired a bunch of people. They were like, if you shave your head, you have to display this temporary tattoo and henna on your head that reads, "Need a change? Head down to New Zealand, www.airnewzealand.com in big block letters."
That's a good one.
Yeah, it was temporary tattoo. It was like henna, so it'd be in your head for a while. So she did this. She was like, fuck yeah, I want to go. I want to check out New Zealand.
Body's a billboard.
Body's a billboard. Let's do it. And I guess her family was like, she's lost her mind. She's having like a mental breakdown. And like sent the police to her house. And she's like, no, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, super interesting. She was one of 30 people who did this, and the airline at the time called them cranial billboards.
Oh, so
and
sick.
Participants would receive either a round-trip ticket to New Zealand, which was worth about $1,200 at the time, or $777 in cash, which was an allusion to the Boeing 777, which was a model in the airline's fleet. And also this article in the New York Times referenced something that happened as early as 2001 when Golden Palace, which was an online gambling site, paid the middleweight boxer Bernard Hopkins to wear a temporary tattoo with its web address during a televised boxing match. And this was like a huge publicity stunt, and all these boxing authorities and people at ESPN were like, this is outrageous, you know. But over the next couple of years, the Golden Palace Casino also paid the former Partridge Family store, Donnie Bonaducci, and other people to do the same thing and apply these like henna tattoos advertising. And Golden Palace got like super into this like body as a billboard thing. We'll hear more about them later. Also in 2005, this guy named Andrew Fisher, who's 20 years old, set up an eBay auction offering his forehead as a site for a temporary tattoo advertisement for 1 month. And this place called Green Pharmaceuticals Snore Stop, they won with almost $40,000 bid to do it for 1 month. So and Fisher would go on these like national TV programs like Good Morning America with this ad on his forehead for this pharmaceutical company. And he would appear in like newspapers. It was like this huge gimmick thing. And he's like, yeah, for 40 grand, I don't regret looking like an idiot for a month, but it's not like it's the most fun thing in the world to walk around with a big ad on your face. Still, though, he did it again. He sold his forehead a second time, and you know who bought it? Golden Palace Casino, because they were all about this body's billboard thing. But they got it for just $5,000. It was discounted. The novelty had worn off a little, and people weren't that excited about it anymore. But Golden Palace, that didn't dissuade them. They kept doing more human billboard stuff. So, also in 2005, through an eBay auction, they paid this woman, Carrie Smith, $10,000 to permanently tattoo their web address on her forehead. It's along her hairline in block letters. It also paid several pregnant women to put temporary tattoos on their giant bellies, as long as they agreed to like wear them bare and naked at malls and football stadiums. this is just like, they were so into this. And then also starting in 2005, Dunlop Tires started hiring tattoo artists to work their booth at annual trade shows they would go to in Las Vegas. So they'd be like, hey, if you get a permanent tattoo of our logo, we'll give you a free set of tires worth up to $1,000. And the company said that 200 people took them up on the deal. And also in the early 2000s, lots of websites started paying people to tattoo their URLs on themselves. And a lot of those websites don't even exist anymore, but people still have these tattoos. So they're ones like grownupgeek.com or savemartha.com or drfreak.com, but the E is a 3.
So
and we actually, you mentioned this earlier, we did an ironic version of this at our work. So we were like, hey, if you get some of our artwork for our brand tattooed on you, we'll give you free clothes. Only I felt super guilty, so I was like, you don't have to have the brand name in it. You don't just use our artwork.
And we gave away so many free clothes.
And we gave away so many free clothes. Kids got our art tattooed on them, but it kind of was just like tattoo flash looking stuff anyway, so I didn't feel really guilty.
Yeah.
But it was still pretty like post-ironic
It was
dystopia.
just like referencing this.
It was referencing this, but I think in maybe a more ethical way, I would hope.
I mean, whatever.
You just get like a little cartoon devil I drew on you or something.
If you really like a brand.
Right. Why not? Yeah. But these people too, like the person was like drfreak.com tattooed. That's like on their forehead.
So
this guy has it on his forehead. Ours would be like, get it an inch big on your knee if you want.
I know you told somebody, you were like, you told a bunch of people no because their ideas were too crazy with what they wanted to do.
I didn't want to scar them for the rest of their life. I was like, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, please. Yeah. But this to me, this whole trend of like, trying to figure out how the body could work as a billboard in the early 2000s really feels like a precursor to influencer marketing as we think about it.
Let that algorithm animate your body.
Let the algorithm animate your body. Exactly. It's something born out of this like weird marriage between personal identity, celebrity endorsement, and the internet. It's like this, the timing was perfect for it. So then the question I naturally go to next is like, how effective is this? How effective do you think it is, Lizzie?
Well, I think that it's the same thing where it's like when you see the name of a brand over and over and you're like in the aisle at like the grocery store, are you going to buy the thing that you've heard of or the thing that you've never heard of?
Are you going to go to drfreak.com or are you going to go to goldenpalace.com?
You know?
Yeah, you're going to check it out.
I think it, well, for sure you'd probably look it up if you saw that.
Yeah, if you guys want to Google the goldenpalace.com forehead tattoo, it's intense.
But in terms of it working, I'm sure a lot of this doesn't lead to like next day sales like in like a huge way.
Well, some of it does.
Yeah.
The short answer about this all is that it is really, really effective. Cool. Sponsored content makes brands a lot of money. And I think it has something to do with the fact that regular advertising makes people really, really unhappy.
Yeah, I mean, people just skip it.
Yeah, so the University of Warwick, Andrew Oswald over there and his team compared survey data on the life satisfaction of more than 900,000 citizens in 27 different countries from 1980 to 2011, with data also on annual advertising spending in those nations over the same time period.
That feels like data freaking.
Yeah, it kind of is, but it's interesting. They found, though, that the higher a country's ad spend was in 1 year, the less satisfied its citizens were a year or two later. But their conclusion is like, advertising makes us unhappy, which to me, I'm just like, I think capitalism makes people unhappy.
I think that's what is it called? P-hacking?
Yeah, it's when you're like just splitting the data however you can to prove your point. But they're missing the overarching thing, which is just that if you live in a place where people have to spend a fuck ton of money to sell people shit they don't need in order to survive, you probably live in a place where it's really hard to survive and you're probably pretty unhappy. But I think this is like a pretty interesting concept because even though they did it in a weird way, I think they landed on something kind of correct, which is that most people don't super love ads unless the ads themselves are an art form, like Super Bowl ads.
Well, because they're boring.
Because they're boring, they're not engaging, and they sometimes make you feel like shit.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't afford that. Why are you showing me that?
Or they'll be like, are you bloated?
And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I? Maybe I am. I don't know. But yeah, as like advertising becomes more pervasive and invasive in Western capitalist culture, right, the burden falls on advertising agencies to try to make these ads feel as little like ads as possible if they want them to be effective. So this is like research led by a cognitive scientist named Mark Chungizi at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and it shows that the most effective advertisements are, yes, the ones that consumers don't even realize they've seen. And that's why sponsored content, right, branded content created by popular internet personalities most of the time, but other people as well, that's why it's been so effective. Because it's pretty normal for online personalities to talk about things they like or things they use all day. So if a brand can pay an internet personality to seamlessly slip their product into an otherwise non-addy type of content, customers are less likely to get the ick out from it. And research shows that people remember branded content twice as long as they would remember a traditional advertisement.
Yeah.
Right. So the new goal in advertising then, in an online space especially, is to use influencers or even regular people to create ads that don't feel like ads. And we have some data about how this works. So 92% of people trust recommendations from other people over just what a brand would tell them. And this is where the power of some sort of endorsement from just like any other person comes in, either by a famous figure or a regular person doing word of mouth style advertising. And that's why sometimes you'll see ads now that have fake influencers in them. Like Hello Chef will have somebody who's not a real influencer pretending like they're an influencer being like, I love this Hello Chef thing, blah, blah, blah,
but
blah.
Because there's so many influencers that no one would even know.
No one even know it was a fake influencer, yeah. Also, I think it was HelloFresh, so if you're HelloFresh, don't sue me if that wasn't you.
And still send free food.
And send me free food, yes. Also, word of mouth advertising retains customers 37% better than other methods of advertising do. So yeah, the more you make an ad feel like it's word of mouth, the more effective it's going to be. And who is obviously poised to give these word of mouth style recommendations for products? Yeah, it's people who have large social media followings because they already have an audience built in that likes them and trusts them. These are social media influencers. And 72% of Gen Z and millennials follow social media influencers online. That's like so many people. And 58% of millennials in particular will watch ads if they support their favorite digital personalities as long as the content feels authentic and entertaining. And 50% of millennials also will trust product recommendations from influencers, which is 12 percentage points higher than for celebrities even. So you're more likely to like the weirdo goth chick who shows you how to do eyeliner on YouTube than Kim Kardashian telling you something.
You trust her.
You trust her. You trust the eyeliner chick more than you trust a Kardashian. And 33% of Gen Zers have bought a product based on an influencer's recommendation in the past 3 months at the time a survey was conducted.
Have you bought something that an influencer told you to buy? Who told you to buy that?
The Gardein.
Yeah.
It was an ad. It wasn't an influencer though.
Whoa.
It was an ad because I was looking at gardening stuff and then I got a targeted ad and then I became obsessed with it for like a year and a half.
Right, I know.
And then I finally just got it. So that's my indoor hydroponic garden. If you follow us on Patreon, you've seen pictures of it.
Has an influencer ever convinced you to buy something?
You know, I don't think so, but I also don't shop that much.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I'm not a shopper. The only thing I really spend money on is food. Like, I like to go out to eat dinner once in a while, and I like to, like, buy a fancy cocktail once in a while. But I think the closest thing to an influencer telling me to do something would be if somebody who is vegan on the internet was like, this vegan thing tastes good. Then I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll try it. Somebody said it tastes good. But that's because I buy food.
Right.
Have you?
No, I don't really. I mean, I buy a lot of stuff, but it's, like, really only, like, clothes on Depop.
Right. Well, you got on
And
Depop
food.
because of Bella, because of Internet Girls.
I know.
That's kind of one.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of one.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, what type of content do these influencers need to create to be the most effective at spreading this, like, fake word-of-mouth style recommendation? So it's going to be branded content that speaks to the influencer's life and their typical online presence. It can't be that weird. So a Nielsen report found that this type of branded content, though, if done correctly, results in 86% higher brand recall in the people who watch it, which is massive, almost doubled. And instead, this thing they call like a pre-roll ad, which is just like an advertisement that pops out, that only has 65% brand recall. So it's way higher. Also, branded content videos had a 62% more positive reaction from viewers than regular commercials.
Yeah.
Which is probably why those places use, like, fake influencers to make fake commercials.
Yeah.
Branded content is also 22 times more engaging than display ads, which is massive.
Yeah, it makes sense, though. It's not, yeah. It'd be more surprising if it was, like, more engaging than the influencer's normal content.
I guess that would be, yeah. After exposure to branded content, though, users are 14% more likely to seek out more content from that advertiser.
Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like when
What is
Tabasco
that?
sent me all that shit, and I made this video, like, Tabasco did a funny thing and sent me more Tabasco than a person could ever possibly fucking use. That means that everybody who saw that post, they would be 14% more likely to be like, let me see what Tabasco's up to lately.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I did look up Tabasco after that.
Well, I looked up Tabasco because I want to learn about their labor practices, because all these people in Louisiana were like, actually, Tabasco's a pretty good job here. And I was like, what? And because of all this shit and how effective this is, experts in marketing think that branded content online is going to grow 500% by 2025.
You don't think people are going to just start tuning out everything and just not even go on their phones anymore?
I mean, I would hope so. Maybe there's like the ad blinders pop up, you know, but like for this type of content. But the thing is, people who are really good at it are like subtle. They're tricky. Like you won't even know. Like if I were unscrupulous, Tabasco could have paid me to post that funny thing. They didn't. I'm bad at business. But, you know, if they had, you wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
And that's a problem that people are running into on TikTok in particular, is that it's hard to know what's a TikTok ad and what's not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so social media influencers are getting really, really good at producing this type of content in this engaging or organic way that makes it hard for people to know if they're watching an ad or not. So that's why in 2022, the influencer market in the United States was valued at over $16 billion as an industry. And it just makes sense. Like 74% of people already are using social media when they're making purchasing decisions. So 1 in 4 marketers are using influencer marketing already as like a main linchpin of their marketing efforts because of it. And on average, businesses will generate $6.50 in revenue for every $1 they invest in influencer marketing, which is a pretty huge ROI. And in 2022, influencer marketing spending jumped from around $3.6 billion to $4.14 billion in the US. So it's like growing every single year. And 81% of marketers are saying yes, because this influencer advertising definitely works. Now today, 72% of major brands say they're dedicating a huge portion of their marketing budget to influencers alone. 89% of marketers who currently engage with influencer marketing are like, yeah, we're going to maintain the same investment or increase it in 2023 compared to last year. 92% of marketers believe that influencer marketing is an effective form of marketing. And in 2022, 39% of marketers invested 10 to 20% of their total advertising budget into influencer marketing alone,
Wow.
which is massive. So this is like a huge part of marketing as an industry. And by 2019, nearly 3/4 of Gen Z and millennials in the US were following these influencers on social media, and the majority said that they trust influencers more than they trust their favorite celebrities when it comes to advice about brands or products outright. They were just like, yes, and they're not ashamed to admit this, and it's not even something that's happening subliminally for some of these consumers.
Well, it's also like, it is on the influencers a little bit, because it's like embarrassing if you do an ad for something like really, really stupid. Like, it's like
Right.
if you did an ad for flat tummy tea.
Oh, it would ruin my life.
Yeah.
There's no way.
So it's like, there is more
accountability
accuracy,
or something. Yeah. Also, this is what's really interesting to me. 86% of Gen Z and millennials surveyed would themselves post sponsored content for money if someone offered it to them.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, everybody's broke, obviously. And 54% said they would become a full-time influencer as a job if given the opportunity. And meanwhile, 17% of British children in one recent survey said that being an influencer would be their dream job when they grow up.
I'm sure.
So this led me to this section I just called in my research, and what about the influencers? And this is the most intense section, I think, of this whole thing, because I have a personal relationship with it, right? So sponsored content obviously has to be put out in the world by somebody. And back in the day, yeah, you'd use a celebrity. Maybe the paparazzi, like I said, would photograph like Britney Spears or Paris Hilton wearing your t-shirt while high on cocaine after a night of partying. And that would be your advertising. And you're like, yes, we got product placement. Woo! That's your sponsored content. But yeah, today that's just like, even though you could do that, or you could do like the things in the movies or whatever, the most accessible way for people to do this is just through social media, and mostly through Instagram. So you don't need a celebrity to do it. You don't need a huge budget to do it. You're just going to find a teenage girl in her bedroom in like Montana, and she's going to do a really good job as long as she has enough followers. And this is where all the influencers come to play. So Lizzie, you know that I'm a big defender of influencers in general, right? Yes, I'm very team influencer. Like lots of people are always like, I could be an influencer if I wanted. All I have to do is post a bikini pic online and I'd make so much money.
No,
but
I think about this a lot.
I think about this all the time because I'm like, I've taken pictures in my underwear and bikinis and posted them online. It's not easy. Like, just because you're in your underwear in a bikini doesn't mean people are gonna like the photo.
No, nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody
it
cares.
It's really special skill, and you have to like curate a whole brand.
Exactly, right? Like, the reality is that influencing is this, like, highly skilled labor. These girls are usually replacing entire ad campaign teams. They're replacing models, stylists, hairstylists, makeup artists, photographers, art directors, and they're usually doing it from their fucking bedroom. And not to mention, all bikini pics are not created equal, right? There's obviously a lot of bullshit about beauty standards and, like, wealth that's playing into it. Like, there's this co-founder of an influencer agency called Viral Nation who said, yeah, we've seen some fashion brands that straight up won't work with bigger girls. The landscape is kind of shitty in that way, especially for young girls. The fastest growing influencer industries are beauty and fitness, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. There's a lot happening on social that promotes body positivity movements, and there's a demand for these types of influencers now more. But the other thing on top of the beauty standards to contend with is access. So this guy's like, look, a couple of guys just reached out to us, and their thing is that they're just really, really rich, and they have 20 cars that are like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, McLarens. Everyone wants to be a luxury car influencer, but these guys already have access. They already have the car. So yeah, of course we're going to sign them. They're going to kill it on YouTube, basically. So he said this in this interview, and the interviewer responded by saying, okay, so you're more likely to succeed as an influencer if you're privileged. And he was like, yeah, a lot of times, yes, which is what sucks about this industry. That's what it's coming down to. But, you know, aside from the obvious privilege makes everything easier, like in every industry, aside from the beauty standards and the wealth, there's also, yeah, like skilled labor that does play into this. Like, you have to take into account the lighting and the composition of the photo, not even in a traditional photography way. Like, this is something we talk about a lot at work because you're a trained photographer.
Yeah, nobody likes photography.
Yeah, so if you have something that's like a technically good photo on Instagram, it's not going to get as many likes as something that has like flat and even lighting.
But I feel like you have to like be really specific when you say this, because then people are just like, I feel like it's like hard to explain, but it's like literally the photos that like get the most likes are like a picture of like a headless woman photo where it's like not photography at all.
Right, it's content.
It's like, yeah, it's literally just like a really casual iPhone picture that like makes no sense at all.
And the lighting has to be like, you can't see shadows.
Yeah.
It's really even. It's really boring. It's really accessible. But it is this very specific thing you have to learn. And even somebody who's trained as a photographer won't necessarily know what makes a good Instagram photo. They're totally different skill sets. So that Viral Nation dude was like, yeah, being an influencer is hard work. It's actually a full-time job. And you could be working at it for 4 years before you even hit it big, like full-time.
Or you could never.
So I think about this a lot because I looked at my own Instagram after this, and I looked at pictures of me specifically in bikinis. And I found my highest liked photo in a bikini had 37,000 likes, but my lowest liked from the same year had 2,000 likes.
Was your highest liked photo a bikini photo?
No.
Okay.
But the bikini photo that was the highest liked got 37,000. Right. Yeah. So it's same person in both photos, me, same body. But the setup of the image, you know, my hair, my makeup, the actual photo, the framing, the lighting, the location, made a massive difference in whether or not people were going to like the photo. And I even found 2 different pics of me in the same swimsuit taken on the same day that got wildly different likes on Instagram. One got half as many likes as the other, and it was literally just because which way I was facing the light.
Totally.
Yeah. So, you know, this is like definitely a skill, and anybody who's like, I could be famous on Instagram if I just posted pictures of my boobs in a bikini too. It's like, well, no, you probably couldn't actually, because it is very, very challenging to figure out what people like.
I also think that a lot of it isn't even that people are like, oh, I consciously like this more. They're like scrolling while they're doing a different activity, and then they're like subconsciously more drawn to like a brighter photo or like a flatter lighting photo. So
what I do when I'm having a hard time deciding for work, I post on our social media for work, when I want to know which photo should be first, I hold up my phone fast and ask everybody in the room to look, and I spin the phone around really quickly and I say, do you like this photo? Would you like this photo on your feed? And everyone's like, I didn't see it. And I'm like, tell me yes or no. Because that's how fast you're going to be scrolling past it. And everyone's like, oh, I guess yes. And I'm like, okay, that's the one. That's all you need to know. Like, that's the first instinct thing. And these influencers are really good at knowing things like this. What makes an engaging photo on Instagram? And that alone is this huge skill set. So all of these kind of influencers who are posting the sponsored content, they fall into these different tiers of celebrity based on their audience size. Do you know about this?
Yeah.
So the 3 most common types are like the macro, micro, and nano influencers. And some influencers will kind of use their following count to determine their price to engage with them. So like a common thing would be like for every 10,000 followers you have, you charge $100 for a post.
Oh, wow.
That
is so low.
Well, but I think it's really high because I'm like, I couldn't charge anything for a post. Nobody's paying me for a post at all.
But I think, so, like, a lot of these influencers are, like, sending decks around. Like, you don't try.
Yeah, that's true. I don't try. But, you know, from the top down, we're going to talk about influencers from the top down. So to start out, we have the biggest influencers in the world, but most of them are just celebrities who are already famous doing something else. Mm-hmm. So it's more like a traditional celebrity endorsement just through their Instagram. Lame. So the top paid Instagram sponsored content posters, did you already see the list?
Yeah.
Oh, because I was going to ask you to guess.
Oh, sorry, no, it just feels unfair.
Well, the number one guy in the world for influencing is a soccer player named Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know anything about sports, so I didn't know that.
I don't know anything about sports, but I used that same data point in a presentation that I gave.
Oh. Well, this guy makes $2.2 million per post, and he has around 600 million Instagram followers. And the number two is Kylie Jenner, who makes around $1.8 million per post and has 400 million followers around there. Next is another soccer player, Lionel Messi, who makes $1.78 million per post and has a little under 500 million followers. Selena Gomez is fourth.
Wow.
And she hasn't released an album since 2015, so people think this is like the only way she's making money right now.
That's surprising.
And she makes $1.7 million per post and has a little over 400 million followers. Then number 5 is my favorite one. It is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Well, he's like the most famous person.
I had no idea this guy was this famous.
Because he was in, so The Fast and the Furious is like the most watched movie.
Okay. This makes sense. So he's got 400 million Instagram followers, and yeah, he's like making basically as much money as Selena Gomez and Kim Kardashian. So Kim Kardashian's next, making that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson money, $1.7 million per post, a little under 400 million followers. Then there's Ariana Grande, also making $1.7 million per post, also around 400 million followers. Then there's Beyonce. Beyonce's way lower on this list. Actually, I guess I wouldn't think she would do any influencer marketing.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I haven't really heard about Beyonce for a long time.
Yeah, well, she makes $1.4 million per post and has around 300 million followers.
Is every post that they do a post for money?
No, okay, not necessarily.
This is only like if they get a deal.
Right, but different people have more deals than others. Like Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian do a lot of deals.
Yeah.
Khloe Kardashian makes $1.3 million per post and has around 300 million followers. Kendall Jenner, same, 1.3 million per post, around 300 million followers. So the Kardashians and the Jenners are really dominating the list, right? Them and the soccer players and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who I now know is an influencer. I didn't realize that before. But I think there's like a gender thing in here somewhere, because I realized that like nobody's making fun of the soccer players or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for being an influencer, but they make fun of the Jenners and the Kardashians all the time.
Interesting.
Right? Like when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson does it, you're like, of course, he's a celebrity. But when the Kardashians do it, you're like, get a real job.
Well, but The Rock is famous for being an actor. The Kardashians are...
Right.
But they're I don't know. The Kardashians are honestly really, really impressive.
Yeah, they're really capitalisming. They're like the manifestation of late stage capitalism, and I think that's what enrages people, and people don't realize that what they're enraged with is the system, not like just these rich people.
Totally.
They're like the rich people are operating within the system that like supports and rewards rich people for doing rich people things, and they're like, I hate these people, and you're like, well, if these people were gone, it would just be somebody else. Yeah, like capitalism requires the aspirational people that we all have to say we want to be like, even if we aren't saying it. A funny thing is, because I've never seen any of the Kardashian TV shows.
I haven't either.
Okay, one time I saw a picture of Kylie Jenner online, and she had really cute hair. Her hair was blue.
Oh, this is really funny.
Yeah, and I didn't know who she was, and I was like, this girl has really cute hair. So I Google reverse image searched the picture to find out who she was, and it was fucking Kylie Jenner.
That's really funny.
I know, it was really embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah,
it was
really
super embarrassing. Yeah, so on top of the celebrities, then we get down to like one tier lower, which is the mega influencers. And these would be people who have over 1 million followers but aren't celebrities.
Do you have a list of these? I want a list of those.
I only know one person on this list.
Is it the guy who made like the new candy bars at 7-Eleven?
Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
No, it's me.
Oh.
I'm a mega influencer.
You're a mega influencer?
Yeah, because I have over 1 million followers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I guess you are.
So marketers seem to think these mega influencers are making between $5,000 and $25,000 per post.
Oh no.
I know. I'm not making anything. Tabasco paid me nothing. They just paid me in Tabasco. I made a joke that I was going to try to pay my mortgage with Tabasco.
I think we should make you a deck. I'll make you a deck, and I'll take a percentage.
Okay, love this. My friend Haley is doing this also, by the way, but I just don't think I am sellable. I know, it's sad. According to Hopper HQ's Instagram Rich List, which is a great name for a list that exists, most influencers with over 1 million followers, though, are charging somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 per sponsored post.
I mean, you're definitely sellable.
Do you think so? I'm palatable and sellable?
Of course.
I love that support. Thank you. One survey, though, found influencers with over 1 million followers were earning over $15,000 per month from their social media following.
Wow.
Which is over 3 times what I make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't make any money from the social media part of it. Yeah, because I have 1.6 million followers on TikTok, nearly 200,000 followers on Instagram, and the most I ever made was that diesel thing, $600 for a post. And usually I make $0 per year from this following. So I'm always really surprised, I guess, when people are able to monetize their online followings in any way. Because I'm like, how are you doing this? I don't understand.
I think that my deck's going to be better than Haley's deck.
Wow, you guys are going to be battling.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll inform her. According to this one survey, 40% of Instagram influencers with followings that go from 1,000 to over 1 million were generating income from branded promotions like sponsored posts, which isn't most people. That's only 40%, right? But it's still a large minority of people with followings. And the average income for social media followers across the board, regardless of your follower count, was around $3,000 a month, which is mostly just through sponsored content. And that's because 40% of influencers generating an income through sponsored content, that's huge. Like, for example, only 4% of influencers are making money from Patreon or OnlyFans. So, pretty big deal for the influencers, the sponsored content. The next step down is a macro influencer. So these would be people who have anywhere from 100,000 to 1 million followers. And they also would have like a broader audience. So I have some examples of people who fall in this category and how much money they make doing this.
Okay.
So there's a 26-year-old influencer named Achiyoung Agutu who has around 480,000 Instagram followers at the time that this insider interview with her came out. And she earned over $1 million her first year as a full-time content creator.
Oh my God.
I know. Then there's Nate White, who's a comedy creator who had 340,000 Instagram followers when he was interviewed, and he was earning $3,000 per post. One influencer with 275,000 followers told Insider that she made $700,000 in brand deals in 6 months. And then Valeria Hinojosa has 134,000 followers on Instagram and was making between $150,000 and $200,000 per year from this.
You're definitely doing something wrong.
Yeah, definitely. And everyone I know with a following is also doing something wrong because I don't know anybody making money from their social media presence.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess I don't actually either. What if it's a lie?
This is what I think. I don't trust people. And there's this whole thing about fake influencers that we're going to get into later.
Oh,
Okay. So then there's the micro influencers. This is what you talked about earlier. More than half of marketers who use influencer marketing, they work with micro influencers exclusively, and that would be somebody who has under 100,000 followers. And these people would generate, though, 60% more engagement than a big-time influencer would be. So 44% of marketers say the biggest benefit to working with micro influencers is that it's cheaper and has higher engagement. And 56% of marketers who invest in influencer marketing are working with these, micro influencers. So Vox said that a micro influencer can make anywhere between $40,000 and $100,000 per year with less than 100,000 followers.
Wow.
I know, which just doesn't seem realistic to me. Embed Social, though, was like, micro influencers can earn up to $800 per sponsored post. And I'm like, who is paying somebody with 10,000 followers $800 for a post?
Well,
but
I do have some firsthand examples of this where I've seen where I've been working with a company and we've hired an influencer and paid them $5,000 or something for a post.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And was it effective?
No.
They were just companies with money.
I guess so, yeah. And then I also know somebody who works at Amazon Fashion, and you know how a lot of those TikTokers have I don't know if it's Amazon wish. They're not wish lists. They're
affiliate links or something.
Yeah, affiliate links. And a bunch of those people make $100,000 a month off of the affiliate links.
Whoa. Well, okay. I thought this all sounded not doable, but then this Hype audit survey found that micro influencers were earning an average of $1,400 per month from their social media followings with less than 100,000 followers. Yeah, so wow. So I don't know how people are doing this. Again, I know a lot of people with significant social media followings. I don't know anybody making money from it. But 2 micro influencers told Insider they were earning 6-figure yearly salaries as full-time content creators. Anne Wynn had around 17,000 Instagram followers at the time that she was interviewed for something, and she said she made up to $48,000 a year from it.
Did you look at what kind of content these people make? Because maybe it's just different. Because like,
it's just like really palatable, addy type
I think
content.
that is like a thing where like a lot of people that we know maybe have a lot of followers from like their music or like whatever thing is that they do, but maybe these are like professional influencers that are just
I don't really have followers from anything I do, just from being me.
No, from outfits.
Oh, maybe. But
It's
outfits, people should want to give you money because you're posting
true.
about things,
That's
right?
True.
Then there was this like couple, Sarah and Safia Mohammadine, and they had 12,000 Instagram followers on their joint account, and they made $2,500 per year from it, which sounded more realistic, but it's still more than I've ever made in a year from influencing. And this person, Alexa Johnson, had around 20,000 Instagram followers and was like, yeah, I make 24 grand a year from it in one interview.
For how many years though?
Some of these people are like 3 or 4 years going. And then, of course, there's the nano influencers. These are people with less than 1,000 followers and are still apparently getting paid to make content. They said they're making $100 per sponsored post.
Actually, I believe that.
Do you?
Yeah, because
you know rich people. I don't understand how rich people work.
It's not that I know, or I mean, I don't know what the exact tie is between knowing rich people, but definitely like companies that I've worked for have paid people where I'm like, why are we hiring this person as an influencer?
I meant like rich companies,
oh,
you know,
okay, yeah.
companies with money.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they're just like, I don't know how this works. CNBC also said someone with 5,000 Instagram followers, for example, they could make $100,000 a year if they did just 308 sponsored posts. And this one nano influencer named Jordan Haynes is like, yeah, I make like $600 a post. And brands will work with these people because, yeah, their engagement gets an average of like 5.6%, whereas people with 1 million followers have an engagement rate of under 2% usually. Yeah. So I don't know. So all of this, obviously, you're hearing a lot about it. It revolves a lot around Instagram, and that has to do, I think, with like how we think of sponsored content. Instagram is the sponsored content machine now. That's where you go to be advertised to.
Yeah.
Right? So Instagram was the most used influencer marketing platform in the United States in 2022, and 72% of marketers were using Instagram for influencer campaigns. And this year, that number alone has grown by 4% from the previous year, just on Instagram. And it's usually people in lifestyle and beauty. And the average price per post from an Instagram mega influencer, which would be somebody with 1 million followers or more worldwide, was $1,200 minimum in 2021.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So by some metrics, experts are like, you could make $100,000 a year, which is 5,000 Instagram followers, if you did 308 sponsored posts per year, if you just charged $325 per post.
Huh.
But that's 308. That's almost a post a day.
Yeah.
That's so many posts. But still, so this is where we get into the scam thing, because Instagram is so synonymous with like influencing and like sponsored content and brand deals. It is rife with scam influencers, which I think is so cool.
Oh, like they bought their followers?
Yes, but they actually like take it one step further.
Okay.
Have you heard about this? There's an HBO documentary about it. Okay, what is it?
No,
Say it.
you go first.
Okay. So some people just call this being fake famous, and the scam, starts by just buying followers and likes. So you can use these websites like Famoid to buy this shit, and prices are pretty low. Like $120 will get you 7,500 followers and 2,500 likes. And these are all bots, and it'll trickle in organically over a few days
But
to make it look like.
It used to work. It doesn't work anymore, right?
It depends. So basically what happens is new sites pop up with new ways of like doing this.
Oh, cool.
And then Instagram will catch on, and then they'll purge. And then new people will be like, oh, I found a new way that it beats the Instagram kind of thing. So they're always coming up with new ways to do this. Yeah. So it's like they're fighting each other. It's like spy versus spy shit. So the bots will be algorithms that pretend to be real people on the internet. They're made by hackers and programmers, and they'll scour the internet to steal like random identities of people. Like they'll steal photos, they'll steal names, they'll steal bios.
I got a really cool bot the other day. You know the photographer Kathy Opie?
No.
Okay, she's like a somewhat famous photographer, but like not present like on the internet very much. And I got a bot using her name because I think I like follow a bunch of photography related stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's pretty good. And there were hundreds of millions of these bots online, obviously, right? Anybody who exists on the internet knows.
Yeah.
We've dealt with bots before. There are bots of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like the Kathy Opie bot.
Yeah, exactly. So this one dude, Nick Bilton, did an experiment, and he was like, I'm going to make a bunch of fake famous people on Instagram. So he just, like, used random people as, like, models for this. So he got this one woman who had 250,000 purchased followers, and then just started, like, posting pictures of her as this fake person. And
Wait, he bought her followers?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was, like, an experiment.
Right. Got it.
And she started getting all these organic followers really fast because she had so many followers. So we had this model pose as this famous person, and then would do photo shoots just, like, in this chick's backyard, but then would geotag them places like the Viceroy in Santa Monica, which is a resort. And then he also would, like, rent a mansion for one photo shoot for $600, or, like, spend $50 to rent a fake private jet photo studio for an hour to take photos in it to make it look like she was rich and on a private jet. And Bilton said that the other people who do this fake famous thing will also pretend like they're getting all expenses paid free trips places, because then it actually does lead to other people offering them all expenses paid free trips. So people will sometimes even fake the vacations altogether. Like, some people will pay for their own and be like, so glad I got this sponsored trip. Thank you, Lufthansa Air. But they'll be paying for it themselves. But other people will literally just make it up and not even leave their fucking house, which is so cool to me.
That's what Amalia Ullman did. Do you remember
No,
her?
who's that?
She was like the first, she's like an artist, and she was like the first one to do that project.
To do this, like, scammy.
Yeah,
That's so cool. So there's, like, websites and apps you can use that will make it look like you're on vacation places.
Yeah.
And then there's other people, like this chick Natalia Taylor has over 2 million YouTube followers, and she's like, oh yeah, I faked an entire Bali vacation just by taking pictures inside of an IKEA.
That is so sick.
I know, it's so cool. I think this is so funny also because I've seen people do this with our work account. Like, I've seen people buy things from our company and then post it on Instagram, like, hashtag gifted, hashtag.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they'll pretend like we sent it to them for free. And I'm like, we did not send you this, liar. But I respect the hustle. I think it's cool.
Maybe we can do this to go on a free vacation.
Oh my god, yeah, we can make a fake vacation using IKEA pictures. I love IKEA.
I think we should do that.
Okay, we should try it. Let's
Okay,
make
sponsored.
2024 the year of trying to make me an influencer for real.
Okay,
I love it. Obviously, like, so I have the most followers on TikTok. TikTok is like an emerging marketplace for like influencers, and the next place that people will deal with this a lot is on TikTok. And somebody was running the math, and they're like, you can make $100,000 a year on TikTok with a minimum of 10,000 TikTok subscribers, as long as you have 270 million views a year and use the TikTok Creator Fund. But I'm, like, skeptical of this because most people I know on TikTok say the Creator Fund tanked their views because the algorithm then started to prioritize non-paid content in users' algorithms to save themselves money, which makes sense. It's just a theory. It hasn't been proven, but lots of people think this is true. But we do have some figures, some facts, right? 45% of marketers use TikTok for influencer campaign marketing now, and it's supposed to grow also 4% this year. And the average price per post from a TikTok mega influencer, someone like me with over 1 million followers, was $1,034 in 2021. So it's less money than Instagram, just barely, but it's still pretty good money. And now a TikTok macro influencer with 100,000 to 1 million followers usually receives around 38,000 views on average per video. So for shits and giggles, I ran my numbers. I receive an average of 204,000 views per video. I should be making money.
I mean, I think I feel like I know exactly what you should do.
Okay, I'm excited. You're gonna monetize me. Yeah. I think it's gonna ruin my life.
I think you should do it for Dolls Kill.
Maybe I should sell my business to Dolls Kill. Would you be down?
And I think
it's our business.
I think you should start making ads for Amazon.
Oh, I can make an Amazon affiliate link. Wow. Some TikTokers are making a lot of money from this shit, right? Like you talked about. Like, there's this guy, Adam Milardovic, who used to work at McDonald's and now makes $30,000 a month from TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, you just have to be really good at negotiating and lean into brand deals. And he's like, most of my money comes from Fashion Nova. And I'm like, whoa.
You could do Fashion Nova. See, that's the problem, is you would say no to
I would say no to all of these, yeah. There's also YouTube, and, like, YouTube used to be, like, the glory days of influencing. It'd be like, well, you only make money influencing if you do YouTube. Do you remember when that was, like, a thing?
Yeah, I do.
So according to influencer marketing data, you would only need 1,000 YouTube subscribers and around 24 million yearly views to generate $100,000 per year of income using YouTube's partner program, which lets you just, like, make money through ads that play on your videos.
That's cool.
Yeah.
YouTube should be more profitable because it like demands more of the viewer's time. You know, it's like they're like more committed to watching it.
Yeah, I think though, like people watch YouTube like older generations used to watch TV. Like people just put it on YouTube and just like let whatever keep
I've never
playing.
done that before.
Some people are like really into
it's
YouTube.
It's like the iPad kids.
Yes, but like even like millennials and Gen Z, some people
Do you
are
do
like,
that?
I don't, but I have friends who do.
Wow.
Who are just let it ride. We're just watching whatever comes up on the YouTube feed. And 28% of consumers in the United States say that they do follow at least one influencer on YouTube. That's over 1 in 4 people in the United
Do you follow
States.
anybody on?
Okay, so I tried to get into YouTube once, and I didn't know how it worked. So I just was like, who's famous on YouTube for me to start? This was like years and years ago. And the person who popped up was Safia Nargard? Safia?
No idea.
So I started watching her videos one day, and she like did funny things where she's like, I'm gonna melt all my lipsticks into one lipstick and make one giant lipstick. And if you know anything about me, I do
like
this.
your vibe,
yeah, I like mix all my condiments into one condiment container, and I'm like, it's jumbo condiment
so
now.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. So I watched her, like, I probably watched like 3 videos, and that's the most I've ever seen of a YouTube influencer before. I watched one video of Bunny Meyer, Graveyard Girl.
Oh, I guess I've never gotten into like the official YouTube influencers, like the people who have a lot of followers. But there are YouTubers that I like.
Really? Like who?
Or I guess they're not like they're just people who like post whatever they would post on YouTube.
Oh.
Like Brad Tromel makes like really cool videos, and like he posts, but I mean they're posted on his Patreon linked to YouTube.
Got it. It's like
but,
YouTube's just like the hosting service at that point.
Yeah, or like
they're not like working
I follow
within
like
the algorithm.
No, I follow a lot of people on YouTube though.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
See, I need to like YouTube's just a platform I never like understood or got into.
Yeah, I get that.
You know? I saw one video from, oh my god, Jenna Marbles forever ago, like 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's like why that stuff sucks.
And then she ended up doing blackface.
And like Fred,
I don't remember.
But that's it's like, what was that other app that was like TikTok where you make like
Vine.
Yeah, it's like all that stuff was just like, or I think I never found like my niche in those.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, this app is stupid. But I just never found like the niche.
You just never found it. That's the thing. When a new social media thing comes out, I always have to be like, okay, I'm taking a week to figure it out.
The porn star that we like,
Liz Vicious?
she had. I can't find the videos anymore, but she made like a lot of YouTube vlogs like recently.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
The only YouTube content that I really liked was Amy Winehouse and Pete Doherty with the baby mice, but they were clearly really high on drugs, and then Amy Winehouse died shortly after, so it was sad. But it's a really good video. Yeah, so I don't know. People really like YouTube. Usually people go on there for dance, music, and gaming. But the people with the highest engagement rates are like micro influencers, people who have, fewer than 1 million followers. And it is also still the most popular platform to watch gaming influencers in the United States and Great Britain, like still more than Twitch somehow, which is wild to me. And the average price you can make as a YouTube mega influencer per sponsored content post is $2,500. So it's over twice what you make on TikTok or Instagram. So you can make more money on YouTube. And YouTube also still pays the most revenue to creators, which is why YouTubers are richer than other social media platform influencers. But obviously still, I cannot help being skeptical of all of these figures that people are claiming to earn, especially when we know statistically 60% of people with social media followings like me are not doing sponsored content at all or making money at all.
So weird.
Yeah, so 51.5% of people with social media followings say they are not making money anywhere with these accounts. So that is still most people. So most people with large social media platforms not making $1 off of that. But there's like a large minority of people, like around 40%, who are making pretty good fucking money from this.
I wonder if a lot of these people profit off of it in like different ways though,
Most people are making the money from just sponsored content.
Not from having like a business that
Correct.
They're like, wow.
Yeah. So Refinery29 did an article about this called Scambition. Influencing is the dream job, but is it really worth it? And I thought that was like it's a cute title. So they talked to this chick Marissa Mites, who went viral on TikTok in 2021. And at the time that this article was written, she had 500,000 followers on TikTok and had transitioned into being a full-time content creator after she had a video go viral that was just her 2 former friends talking behind her back. Yeah. And she was like, yeah, within a few hours of posting this video, I got 100,000 followers, and it just went up from there. So she became like a sympathetic character on the internet and then turned it somehow into a full-time content creation job.
Whoa.
But she was like, trying to determine your entire income on engagement from strangers on the internet is a really difficult process to mentally and physically try to keep up with. A lot of people think of influencers as these awful people who ruin everything, but there's a lot of people who just want to make the world a better place with their platform. And this is kind of when she started. When she was like, whoa, I'm getting all these followers, she started this like foundation to help like people who are lonely and had bad friends try to like connect with each other. So she's like, yeah, some of us are just like good people who are like, oh, this fell into my lap, what can I do with this? But it's still hard. So she went on to say, I have a really hard time sometimes because my content is personality based. Say I'm having a really bad week. It's like, okay, I don't want to post really sad stuff or just go dark for a week. I have to post something. I'm not a singer. I'm not a dancer. My content is based on my chaotic life. But if my life isn't chaotic, I'm not getting content. And it's a little difficult because you can get lost in that. And then on top of that, she's like, it's also really hard to get paid for the shit, right? So she said, I did a brand deal last December. It's October now, and I still haven't been paid. You never know when you're going to get paid. You never know when your next opportunity is going to come. And I really liked the way Refinery29 was talking about this in the Scambition article because it references this phenomenon that one of my favorite people on TikTok, Pink Williams, talked about once. Pink Williams was like, yeah, we're all just busking on the internet. Like, we're doing our little song and dance on the street. Like, we're street performers asking for money, but online. And Refinery29 kind of like played around with this idea too of what it means to be an influencer. So they said the past few years have thrown the traditional job market for a loop amid widespread disillusionment with corporate culture, the COVID-driven great resignation, and an overall desire to escape the hamster wheel. Being an influencer has never seemed like a more appealing job prospect. TikTok's algorithm, which is able to catapult an ordinary person to stardom, has changed the game. Influencing not only looks like an easy, extremely lucrative and glamorous career path, it also feels like a middle finger to traditional exploitative capitalism. To its disciples, influencing is an alternative path where workers can exercise more control over their lives and carve out their own way to success without the pressure of a soul-sucking 9-to-5 looming over their shoulders. And I kind of liked this breakdown of what people think influencing is. Because some people, especially people who live in like rural areas or lack formal job training, will see influencing as like a way they could potentially get their bills paid, you know, especially if they shoot up to fame pretty fast. But what I found is most people, even when they get a lot of followers, they're just kind of stuck in this position where like, now what? How do I do this?
Don't join the military, become an influencer.
Right.
Upward mobility.
Yes, it's the new military. So this kind of idea about like how it works getting paid. Kate Lindsay, who's a co-founder of the internet newsletter Embedded. Do you know about this? Okay, so she talks about this a lot, and she says that influencing is more like gig work or freelancing. The pay structure and the uncertainty is very, very similar to how this works. And she's like, basically, we need a lot more mechanisms in place to protect influencers, just as you would protect any worker. And this is what I've always been saying. We need to unionize influencers. So she says SAG-AFTRA is actually one of the few unions that will allow influencers to work with them. And you can get money put away for healthcare and a 401k. It does add a little bit of structure.
Wait, SAG?
Yeah, there's like a specific division of SAG.
And can you get healthcare?
Yeah, you can. But she's like, it's not enough. And like, we need more safety nets. So Christina Moore points out also that being an influencer makes it like harder to just live a normal life. Like, Christina Moore herself is an influencer, and she's like, yeah, banks don't even see my job as real income. She's like, I wasn't even able to get a car loan based on my income from influencing. I had to have somebody write me a fake job offer letter for a position that wasn't even real, that didn't have pay stubs, and that's what they took to qualify me for a car payment or car loan. Not like real income.
Yeah.
So Refinery29, in this article, they're like, look, while this perceived freedom might be the case for some who make their living on social media, there's this dark underbelly that we can't ignore. The ramifications of things like instant fame, confusing likes for validation, a lack of privacy, a blurry line between work and real life, impending burnout, and more often than not, heightened issues with mental health. If your life, your likeness, and your personality are all products that can be bought and consumed, is it really a life worth living? And I like this because I ask myself this a lot and I don't even make money from it. So Kennedy Urich had 1.4 million followers when this article in Refinery29 came out. And Kennedy was like, Everything about my life is overanalyzed, and people who don't know me think they have the right to scrutinize all of my mistakes and growing pains. I'm very vulnerable with my audience about what I go through, because if I can help just one person feel less alone, it's worth it to me to share my stories. But simultaneously, it's still really difficult to block out the noise and repercussions that come with vulnerability. I go through very normal things that other people my age experience too, but I am judged on such a public platform, and someone has an opinion about everything I do. And I think about this a lot, because in my head, I'm like, I don't think, for example, that I am meant to hear what 1.6 million people think of me all the time.
No.
I don't think a person is supposed to handle that, right?
Yeah.
But Christiana Moore, who at the time of the article had around 1 million followers on TikTok, was talking about this too, and was like, yeah, I'm a lesbian, and people always assume I'm straight until I say something saying otherwise. So when I announced I was engaged, all this came in, questions were all over the place. I literally had to pump the brakes and be like, what am I willing to share on this platform? Because I don't want to be judged on the internet. They're going to pick everything apart. And she was like, it's difficult when there's something you hold really near and dear, like your family, the person you love, maybe your child. And it's very easy to be triggered when somebody says something negative. And in that moment, I realized I had to limit the access that the internet has to my relationship. And she also said this thing that was like really sweet and sad to me, where she said, influencing is so closely tied to your self-worth, because in a regular job, you do your work, and for the most part, you can leave it there. But on social media, your personality is everything. So if it's not being received well, you have a tendency to feel like you're not good enough. And Refinery 29 talked about this, like clarifying, and said, despite how difficult the scrutiny and fear of judgment are, an influencer's followers are the very heart of their career. Without them and their engagement, these high-paying brands wouldn't come knocking. Creators must embrace their audience, because losing them is not an option. Without an audience, you may no longer be relevant, and becoming irrelevant is a constant fear for creators. So Christina Moore said, I've never even really thought that I had anxiety before this job, but I am constantly fearful of falling off. It's the only job where you get an instant report card. You post your content and it does well or it doesn't, and you're constantly on a high and low of being validated and unvalidated based on how your content's being perceived. It's so draining.
I feel like, though, like, this is the type of thing where people want to be an influencer so badly that, like, they don't feel bad for influencers. And
right, because they're like, well, you're so lucky.
well, but even hearing this, it's just like eye roll. Like, oh no, it must be so hard.
Yeah, and this is what
because
a lot...
it is like... Or go ahead, sorry.
Well, this is like what a lot of people thought too before they became influencers.
Right.
Like some of the people were like, yeah, when I hear people say this, I'd be like, oh, fucking cry me a river. But what you don't realize is you're like, most of these are workers, like every other worker.
Yeah.
These are basically customer service workers, and most of them are making little to no money from it.
Yeah, that's the part that's really crazy.
Right. So you have some people who are rich, right? But mostly those people were rich to begin with.
And a lot of people are just doing it for fun.
Oh, and a lot of people are doing it because they're like, maybe it'll turn into something, or like there has to be a way for me to make this work in the future. But really, they're subjected to this level of like psychological torture and harassment with no pay for the prospect of a job that will pay off in the future.
Yeah.
It's like a really shitty, like years-long job interview with like an abusive boss.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen it happen with like close friends who are like had like a lot of Instagram followers, and it's like really psychologically torturing.
It is. And Refinery 29 said the mental health ramifications of your job are even more sinister when your work is dependent on whether or not people actually like and accept you as a person. Adding to that anxiety is the constant wave of ever-changing trends on social media. Experts have pushed the idea that the true antidote to burnout is finding meaning and fulfillment in your work and your life. That feeling may be harder to come by, though, when, as an influencer, you essentially turn yourself and your life into a commodity, a miniature media company whose job is not only to connect with your audience and be authentic, but to sell them things, too. Which is like, how do you do that? It's impossible, right?
Yeah.
So there's this other article I liked called Trying to Become an Instagram Influencer Ruined My Life.
I have the antidote. It's like Lil Michaela. It's like you just need a team. It's
Or
like a
you
pop
need,
star.
yeah, you need a team.
So your account should just be like 15 people.
Yeah, that's the ideal, but then it's like, how are you making sure you can monetize enough to support 15 people?
Right.
They need to manage multiple people.
Right.
Yeah. So this article, Trying to Become an Instagram Influencer Ruined My Life, is really interesting because it's just this normal girl who was like, yeah, that sounds fun. And then she's like,
a lot of people.
right. So it's really this story. So it focuses on the story of Megan Gentry. And she had some things where she was like, oh, it was like a lot harder than I thought it would be. Like, it took a lot more time to post a good photo. I'd have to like edit it, retake the photo. I'd have to buy props. I'd have to do all the shit, which is like, yeah, no shit. It's like hard, you know? She's like, yeah, I had to get the perfect shot. I had to edit it and make everything flawless. But whatever. She starts to get this small following on Instagram. And before she even gets 10,000 followers, she does start to get like paid sponsored content offers and deals. So people are doing this somehow. She ends up even moving from Napa, California to New York City, where someone at one of the brands she worked with taught her how to use Photoshop. So then she instantly started using it to make herself look skinnier in photos. And then she realized the skinnier she made herself, the more followers she got.
Oh no.
Yeah, really, really, really bad. So she's like, well, before I started using Instagram, I already struggled with depression and anxiety, and I ended up developing a really bad eating disorder in this time frame, all for a photo. I wanted to look in real life how I looked in the Photoshop versions of myself, so I sort of let go of everything else I cared about so I could get these perfect photos, get paid more, and work with more brands. And around 2018, she hit 10,000 followers, right? Which is something of a magic number in Instagram world. It's when people start to take you seriously. But along with all the popularity comes harassment. And this is totally a thing I can relate to. The more popular I got on TikTok, the more people started looking for reasons to hate me, which was wild because unlike Gentry, I didn't ask to have 1.6 million followers on TikTok. It just kind of happened. But she was like actively pursuing this, you know? But people, either way, whether you ask for it or not, if you have followers, they are going to consume you as a product. They're intrinsically dehumanizing you and objectifying you and relating to you like more of an objectified entity, or at the very best, a brand or a concept. And people will swear allegiances to and against products, right? So all of a sudden you have people who are swearing their allegiance to you like you're a Nike running shoe, and people who are like, I hate Nike, I would never buy Nike. But it's not Nike, it's you.
Yeah.
You know, it's a person. And now they're hating you because you've ceased to be human in their minds. You've just become another product. So naturally, Gentry's like, okay, I hit 10,000 followers and I started to get a lot of messages. It was really exciting. But then it just also got really easy for strangers to bash me, and it got really dehumanizing. I was posting my photography originally and having fun with the account, and it was great. But as I got a larger following, my anxiety got like 10 times worse. I was worried about posting every day. I wanted my following to grow, but then I just got more anxiety and more hate comments. And then she ended up also suffering these major financial setbacks. She said, I lost a lot of money buying outfits and makeup and facial products, and I was always trying to put my best foot forward. And I was doing all this with the hopes that I would see a lot of return on that. But 6 months later, I ended up heavily in debt. Yeah. So according to the article, the issues facing Instagram influencers are so widespread that this mental health advocate, Larissa May, created a whole organization for it called Half the Story, with the intention of helping people find these like healthy relationships with social media. And Larissa May is like a really interesting kind of therapist or like mental health advocate. So she comes up a lot when you hear people talking about like how fucking damaging this is, not only for influencers, but also for like people consuming this type of sponsored content posting. She says people that are spending more than 3 hours a day on social media are more likely to experience symptoms of social isolation, depression, and anxiety. And brand influencers are virtually spending their entire day on their phone because it's a full-time job. So Refinery 29 also talked about this in the article, and they talked about the idea of authenticity and how it ties into the monetization of influencing via the sponsored content and brand deals. And they said influencers make money, right, by getting their audience to trust them, and using their authenticity as a selling point is an ethical issue within the industry. But it's not something that we have to blame these individual creators for. And that co-founder of the internet newsletter Embedded, Kate Lindsay, she said, when you're growing that following, you're growing it because of you, not because of your brand deals. Like when you're starting out, you don't have brand deals, right? And then the brand deals will come later. And no matter how much creators try to make it a seamless integration, you are always going to be compromising yourself a little because you probably wouldn't be talking as much about a product in your everyday vlog. But now you're getting paid to, and that's ethically very difficult. So have you heard of this book, The Influencer Industry, The Quest for Authenticity on Social Media?
No.
All right. So this was written by Emily Hund, PhD. So Emily Hund is like most people, the influencers, are just doing what they can to get by in this world. Authenticity as a concept is constantly being renegotiated. That's the nature of authenticity. It's a social construct. It's something that's always decided upon by groups. So she talks about online authenticity with this term industrialized construction, basically. And I thought it was really interesting, too, that she's like, yeah, these aren't like celebrities. These aren't people with some grand master plan. They're usually just people who are like trying to get their bills paid, and they fell into this. So she says this idea that influencers are truly, truly authentic is very persistent. In my research, I talked to a lot of influencers, and I think the vast majority of them are genuine people who want to do a good job. But the fact remains that they're kind of caught up in the system where they have to fit within certain rules or boundaries that are often decided by others, their followers. And this feels super true to me too, right? Like you can be authentic, but only up to a point. Because if you say anything outside of the mainstream online narrative the algorithm is feeding your fan base every day, you'll deal with this backlash that just frankly isn't financially worth it for you. So you censor your beliefs to fit what your audience is comfortable hearing right now. You become this like again, product to be consumed, a two-dimensional reflection of yourself with all of the complicated 3D bits conveniently left out. And also, Women's Health did a really good interview and article about this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Weirdly, I also referenced them in another recent podcast episode, so I kind of feel like maybe their journalism is getting interesting. Or maybe my baseline expectation of journalism is getting...
what is it?
Okay, so Women's Health said... there's all this pressure to hide your struggles because it's not on brand or good for selling products. And they referenced this anthropologist, Brent Luvas, who asked whether being an influencer is ultimately more empowering or more exploitative by saying, are influencers the newly empowered subjects of a democratizing fashion industry, or the industry's new pawns, subjected to the disciplinary dictates of self-monitoring and self-promotion, so intrinsic to the logic of neoliberalism?
It's literally exactly like becoming a soldier.
It is. And is there any conceivable difference between the two? Right? It's like, is this something that's helping elevate you to this like new status of freedom, or is it the kind of freedom that can only exist in neoliberalism, which is actually a prison and a facade?
Yeah, it's so dystopian.
Yes. And this might be why influencing isn't actually a dream job for so many people who end up with large followings online. Like, you said you knew people whose lives were ruined by having... Yeah. This is how I feel, too. Like, I have dreams about throwing my phone into a lake and becoming a barista.
I really hope that one day you're able to.
Thank you. I'll invite you if I do it. I'll have a ceremony. And, like, I don't even make money from my personal social media following, but now, all of a sudden... my personal social media presence is like weirdly tied to our job.
Yeah, so now literally like 15 people rely.
Exactly. So now my financial well-being and the well-being of 12 other people who work at the business, it's all tied to how likable I am on the internet to a bunch of strangers who don't know me.
Yes.
And it is so fucking stressful.
Yes.
And those people don't even see me as human on the internet.
No.
You know, the 12 people I work with, those people see me as human.
Yeah,
and I care about them and like them. And I owe things to them.
Right.
But part of me owing things to them is to try to be likable online.
Right.
So this UK-based content creator, Brittany Bathgate, decided to, like, take a step back from influencing after doing it for almost 6 years. And she just got, like, a regular non-content creation job. She was like, I don't want to keep going forward, chasing an algorithm and being a vessel for brands.
I mean, that's what my main influencer friend basically did.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm over this.
Yeah.
I just want out. I just want a normal job. So she was like, I feel like morally, a lot of what is happening on social media now just doesn't sit quite right with me. Just like things with the economy here in the UK, constant talks about going into recession, the cost of living crisis, all these things. And this kind of industry feels a bit icky to me now. And I just think I'd be so much happier selecting a few brands to work with and just doing my normal job. And that chick Mites, who got like a bunch of followers after that video went viral of her two friends talking about how much he hated her. She also is like, I try to take breaks from creating, but in her Refinery 29 interview, she's like, yeah, every time I stop creating, I actually feel more lost than I like do even when I'm doing it. She says, I'm self-employed. That's 5 to 7 days that I went without posting. It's going to hurt me. People and brands are going to look at that and be like, oh, she hasn't posted in 5 days. That's when the spiral happens, because you're, again, basing your worth off of other people's opinions. And the reality is they haven't noticed. I've taken time off from posting, and it almost makes you feel worse. And there's one of those terrible, like, BuzzFeed aggregate things where people share their experiences with influencers they know IRL. Have you seen these? They're, like, super clickbaity. They're like, what's it really like being an influencer? People who know them in real life say what they think.
Oh, cool.
There are some good ones, though. So one person was like, yeah, my cousin is a moderately successful Instagram model and she absolutely hates it. She hates her fans, finds them all cringy and pathetic, hates the drama, only does it because it's the only way she can make money. She dropped out of school and endorsing products and taking pictures of herself is the only way she knows how to pay rent. Yeah. She's trapped in a prison of her own hotness.
That's kind of what you did.
Yeah. Me? Do you think so?
That's what you did.
I don't make any money, though.
Well, to clarify, I mean, we keep saying you don't make any money influencing, but that the whole company is tied to your social media.
Yeah, but it's like a weird thing.
I know, because you don't make any money personally, but people know about your brand because of social media.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's weird, because it used to be I used my image less for it, but then when the algorithm shifted for work, now the only pictures that get likes are ones of me.
It's also because you made your brand not be your brand. You made it be like all of our brand.
Yeah.
So you also set yourself up, like, once again.
Yeah. I just did it all wrong.
Yeah,
I did it all bad. I did everything wrong. Yeah, so also this other person on the BuzzFeed aggregate thing of, like, influencers, you know, IRL. They were like, oh, I went on a date with an influencer once. And it was just infuriating. Pleasant enough girl. She was on her phone a lot, though. I had sympathy for her because it's her job. But I felt ignored a lot of the time we were together. I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Another person said, well, if you looked at her social media, you'd think she was a supermodel millionaire who goes on a ton of nice trips. She's actually chronically unemployed and has an income of less than $10,000 a year. Oh. Her boyfriend makes $60,000 a year, which is enough to afford them a nice 3.5 bedroom apartment, and she has tons of props she can use to make each room look different from day to day, so it seems like she's always in a new exotic place. They take 2 trips a year for fun to tropical places, in which she takes many photos, then posts them as different places throughout the year.
God.
Hacker.
I did know a girl who was trying to become an influencer, and she'd very clearly only gone to Hawaii one time, and she just kept posting the photos of it, and it's been years, and now she's like really like traveling around.
Oh, it works.
Yeah, it really
See?
works.
It works. I know a guy who became a travel Instagrammer.
She's getting flown around by like guys who thought she was hot though.
Oh.
Not brands.
Okay.
But still,
But still, you're influencing somebody. Yeah, I know a dude who used to be a drug dealer, and then he was like, I'm not a drug dealer anymore. I'm going to be a travel blogger.
Cool.
And then he used all his drug dealing money to fund him going on these trips, and he kind of did a thing where he acted like, I'm a travel blogger. People send me places.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and now he's a travel blogger. So it does work, the faking it thing. Someone else said, my ex's sister is an influencer in beauty and makeup with over 1 million followers on YouTube, but she's so anxious and stressed all the time. She's horribly insecure. If she gets some backlash or bad comments, she's so upset, and she was on a lot of anti-anxiety medication. And I'm like, that's me. Totally me.
Yeah.
And in the Women's Health article, they talked to Victoria Paris, who was this influencer who lived in New York City. You know who she is? And she said that she encountered repeated personal space violations and stalking, and that led to her having like really intense anxiety and paranoia. So this like checks out. A lot of these people have a lot of stress, and a lot more stress than the average person, and aren't very happy.
Yeah, it's like as much as a normal celebrity, but then like no security team.
No security team and no money or hardly any money, comparatively. And this chick, Victoria Paris, ultimately had to move across the country just to get out of the public eye. And she's like, yeah, I still deal with nasty comments on my posts, Reddit threads dedicated to picking me apart, trauma dumping from my followers in my DMs, and the potential for privacy issues in the future. She said the internet is so emotionally volatile that after being dragged through the extreme highs and lows on a daily basis, I just wake up feeling zero. I know, and it's so sad. And Grace Atwood is this chick who's been an influencer for 13 years. And she's like, we cannot take breaks. Our numbers drop. She says if she stops posting even just for the weekend, she'll notice a 30 to 40% decline in Instagram story views. And any drop in engagement is a big problem because the bulk of her income comes from her social media account, and she's paid based on her views. So she says for influencers, taking the weekend off from work means coming back to do the same job on Monday for lower pay. Wild. And Michaela Noguera is one of the most successful beauty influencers on TikTok. She has over 13 million followers. And she's earned a bunch of huge deals and done a bunch of collaborations with like just every major beauty brand you can imagine. And she was able to buy a house with the money she made from her influencing career. But she's also like, yeah, I didn't take more than 5 days off, not consecutively, total in over 2 years.
It's the same as you.
Yeah, I guess. But I do like different things. I feel like lately I've gotten really good about taking time off.
But
I have at least 1 day off a week.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
And you like fully take it off?
Yeah.
You don't respond to text messages about work?
I don't know. I don't want to answer that question anymore. I don't know. It's hard because at our job, it's like, what's the text message about work?
Yeah, I don't think you take any time off.
Yeah, I might not. I might be on call all the time. Also, though, because of like the personal nature of the job and the high stress that comes along with it, paradoxically, the only way experts say you can survive influencing is to take breaks. And that's where the dilemma comes in. So that Women's Health article was like, yeah, well, job stress certainly isn't unique. The kind of stress that influencers face is particularly vitriolic because they're getting violent threats, verbal cruelty, and it targets also their personal identity. So it's not like you're bad at your job. It's like you're bad.
Yeah.
And that psychologically is just like so much. So Estefania Pessoa, do you know who this is?
No.
So she's an influencer who had over 1 million followers at the time of this article. And she was like, people in your comments will talk about you like they're not in your house. And I loved that. Because I'm like, yeah, you're on my phone. Like, you're at my house right now. Yeah. Like, get out of here. They'll be like, who is this bitch? She sucks and she thinks she's so funny. And I see that on my phone and I start spiraling. Because I'm like, this is really who I am. This is me. And she also said, you're tap dancing for the algorithm and you get nothing, which also reminded me of the Pink Williams thing. We're just like busking. You're like, please pay me something. So Pessoa ultimately reached this point where she's like, I have had enough. The social media feedback loop was making her depression so bad. She needed a break. And she actually has taken one indefinitely. She handed her channels off to her team. So they just, like you said, you need a team. They just post for her and she's not on the internet at all.
This sounds like also everybody that I know who, like, has their dream job. It's like that, what's that quote? Like, your biggest dreams become your worst nightmares.
It's like golden handcuffs.
Yeah. It's like, my other friends who have, like, succeeded in their field, like, want to quit so bad.
Yeah, see? That's the thing. I think also it's like people need changes. Sometimes you just get so burnt out by things.
Yeah.
So she said that she was getting, like, this near constant influx of hate comments, which led her to just, like, hand everything off to the first place. But she's like, I feel so guilty about it. I've heard people get to this point before, and I've been like, oh, that's so dramatic. Like, this is what you're saying. It sounds so dramatic. But she's like, but then I became that person, and I realized no amount of money in the world was worth me looking in the mirror thinking, you're so terrible. So Hund, who's that therapist who, like, formed that outreach group, because she's like, the influencers are not okay, they're broken. She says, what we know for sure is that constantly churning out fresh digital material for mass consumption, often by sharing intimate details about your life, definitely wears on people. And Jamie Zuckerman, who's a PhD and clinical psychologist based in Pennsylvania, is like, from a neurological standpoint, like, if you're an influencer, you're constantly getting these intermittent hits of dopamine. It's like a drug. But when influencers are not using social media, they're experiencing dopamine withdrawal because they're used to being online for hours at a time. Then this puts them at an even higher risk for anxiety and depression than people who don't make a living on the internet. And those people, though, who don't make a living on the internet are also falling victim to the dopamine rush of social media. And then you add money into the mix and you add fame into the mix, and this combination just gets, like, super harmful. So Noguera was like, lately I'm having issues separating the real world and the internet world. It feels like they're merging together, and all I have is the internet world, and that is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
There's also Ziggy Tyler, who's a 24-year-old Black and queer content creator with over 700,000 TikTok followers. And Ziggy says it feels like a toxic work environment. You're sorting through your Instagram requests, and it's 95 messages of people just wishing they could kill you. People have told me they want to lynch me. Somebody sent me a screenshot of an old house I used to live in years ago. And I have this perpetual feeling of being on edge all the time. Like I'm always being watched. And all of this is for diminishing financial returns. Hund says influencers are paid by brands mostly, right? You're usually not paid by social media companies, even though you're creating all this value for the social media companies. And it creates this huge power imbalance. Influencers are driving traffic to social companies and to brands, both of them, but they're not being offered any stake in the business themselves, nor any benefits or protections. So all of them live in fear of an algorithm changing or the sudden deletion of their account, which is something totally out of your control and really a huge issue on TikTok. Like my account could disappear at any time on TikTok. And when you add racism into the equation for people like Ziggy Tyler, it gets even worse. Like, Tyler's brought to attention the pay discrepancies between himself and white creators, which also impact creators' mental health. Nearly half of all Black influencers report their race contributed to a brand deal offered below market value. There's also a 29% brand deal pay gap between white and BIPOC influencers, and that number expands to 35% when you look at just white and Black creators. So Tyler says, we are literally selling our bodies and our image, and we're not even getting paid. That takes a toll on you. Ultimately, Women's Health sums it up in this awesome way. They said, social media and brands' propensity to use it as a marketing tool is only growing, but experts and influencers agree there has to be a better, healthier way for this industry and influencers to operate. At the very least, there has to be more honesty about what a career online really looks like and the damage that influencing can cause to creators and consumers alike. So, okay, so then the last part I have about all of this is just called, is SponCon rotting our brains?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Because, like, what does it do? We know what it does to an influencer, right? You're like, cool, my body is a billboard and I do a song and dance and I hope you pay me, and maybe you don't. And also, while I'm maybe not getting paid for this work I'm doing selling your shitty product, people are literally stalking me and telling me they want to murder me and that I'm the worst person on earth every single day. And this is my job.
And then other people are, like, consuming the content, feeling like shit because they're starting to, like, want the thing that the influencer is selling them, and they can't afford it, and then they also feel bad about themselves because they feel like they're not as good as the influencer or as important or as, like, smart or pretty.
Right.
And also it just, like, makes everything about shopping.
Right. And then the only people who win are the brands.
Right. But the brands aren't even, like, even the people who work at the brands are still the people, like, consuming and making.
Right. So it's not even the brands who are winning. And if you're a small business, it's really, really stressful because you become a default content creator. Every small brand has to be their own content creator. So really the only people who are winning are the people who own the social media companies.
Instagram. There's a Tunnel Vision Zine article about that in the next scene.
Oh, really? I'm so excited. Yeah, so what is the effect of being fed sponsored content by skinny, beautiful, rich people all day on the internet? What's it actually doing to us? You know.
And it's so addicting that then people, like, don't hang out at bars. They literally hang out at home on their phone.
Yes. So by its very design, Instagram is addictive. We know this. TikTok's even more addictive than Instagram. But there's been a lot of evidence about Instagram in particular because it's been around longer, so people have studied it more. So people have done, like, studies and found that getting a like on Instagram triggers the same chemical reaction in your brain as gambling and drugs. It's like the gamification of identity. So there's this Dr. Harshal Kuran, who's the medical director at Wellbridge Addiction Treatment and Research, and this doctor says the same pathways that enable us to connect with healthy behaviors, like bonding with others, are the same pathways that get co-opted and activated to seek out really unhealthy habits. And Instagram intentionally designed a number of algorithms to ensure the mechanisms of receiving likes is activating that underlying pathway.
So interesting, though. Like, that type of degree would be, like, the most interesting.
Study. Yeah. Also, like, there's a lot of debate over how aware Instagram is about what they're doing. But recently a bunch of leaked documents came out.
They're so aware.
Where they're, like, hyper aware. They're, like, more aware than you even think.
It's, like, so many, of course.
Yeah, of course. A 2018 University of Pennsylvania study looked at the addictive nature of social media by observing one group of participants who limited their time on social media to just 30 minutes a day, and then the control group was allowed to just, like, look at it like usual. And then the researchers tracked the participants' social media time automatically via, like, their iPhone usages and screenshots, and participants would complete surveys about their mood and their general well-being. And after 3 weeks, they found that the participants who limited social media use said they felt less depressed and lonely than the people who had no limits, which is really interesting. And psychologist Melissa G. Hunt, again, who conducted the study, said, here's the bottom line. Using less social media than you normally would leads to significant decreases in both depression and loneliness. These effects are particularly pronounced for folks who are more depressed when they came into the study. But still, in 2019, the average person spent 135 minutes a day on social media.
It's also, though, just, like, when you're just sitting by yourself going on your phone, that's obviously going to be, like, worse for you. Like, if you aren't doing that, then you're doing something else.
Right, you get bored and you're like, I'm going to get out of the house. Like, I do this sometimes, these periods where I have a month where I only use screens at work.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, and then
I didn't know that you did that. That's
cool.
I
do it once in a while. I'll do it, like, once a year maybe. Cool. So then I'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna, like, read a bunch of books or, like, do puzzles with my boyfriend or like
do that.
cook dinner and bake dessert afterwards.
We should do that on vacation.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It's really, really fun.
That'd be really fun.
Yeah, and I do, like, resent that phone is bad kind of narrative because I think it's really reductionist. Yeah, and it is kind of fun, but I do think it's true that the rapid access to technology and the speed of communication now is maybe amplifying or accelerating some of the issues that have always existed in, like, Western capitalism for decades. Because it's like, if the phone makes everything more instant, all of the things that you would be experiencing traditionally in capitalism before the phone, you're still experiencing them. It's just everything's moving so much faster that you're getting so much more of it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the phone. I think it's the thing I always go back to, which is just, like, my political opinion can best be summarized by America bad, capitalism bad, you know, which is, like, is super reductionist, but somehow I stand by that. And I'm like, no, normally that's just the problem. But the phone just, like, gives you so much more of everything. Like, technology is a tool, and technology will make everything more of what it already is.
Right.
Like, every tool. And if society is already isolating and depressing, then technology will find a way to facilitate making it more isolating and more depressing a lot of the time. And then there's the issue of comparison, which you were talking about.
Yeah.
So Larissa May says, with media and magazines for the past 50 years, we have been comparing ourselves to people on the billboards. Now that billboard, though, is in your hand at all times. You yourself are on that billboard every day of your life, and everyone is constantly comparing themselves. These comparison tactics and thoughts are part of humanity, yes, but social media places a huge magnifier on that construct. And I kind of like that take, where it's like, it's not phone bad. Phones aren't ruining our lives, but it's kind of taking the issues that were intrinsic to, like, advertising, which this whole idea that, like, you could be better if only. Right. And it's just making you exposed to so much more of it every single day. And this is where those documents that, like, Facebook and Instagram had about their own effect on people's mental health that were leaked, this is where these become super relevant. So the Wall Street Journal posted about this. They, like, ended up with all these leaked documents from, like, Facebook. And Facebook had internal documents from their own studies finding that nearly a third of teenage girls who felt bad about their bodies felt worse after logging onto Instagram.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, you remember this. And then they themselves were like, it's probably a reflection of targeted advertising and influencer culture. Yeah. They were like, yeah, it's the influencing.
It's working.
Yeah. So this statistic was also part of a presentation posted to an internal Facebook message board in March in 2020, which added comparisons on Instagram can change how young women view and describe themselves. And a 2019 internal slideshow from a presentation at Facebook was seen by the Wall Street Journal, and it said explicitly, we make body image issues worse for 1 in 3 teen girls, while another highlighted the way teenagers believed there was a strong link between rates of depression and anxiety and Instagram usage, stating bluntly, teens blame Instagram for increases in the rate of anxiety and depression. This reaction was unprompted and consistent across all groups. They're like, we cannot cut the data any other way. Teenagers are like, this shit is bumming me out. Yeah. And they're just like, whoopsie. And another is reported to have said that 13% of UK teen users and 6% of US-based teen users trace the desire to kill themselves to Instagram specifically. Yeah. So wild. So do you remember that guy who was like, increased ad spending in regions is correlated with decreased happiness? Mm-hmm. But
Okay, yeah.
We're a little skeptic of his motives, but there's a vibe there, I think.
That was different. Wasn't that talking about, like, something specific or no?
No, this was the guy who was like, when you trace, like, how much money a country's spending on advertising revenue, the more you spend 2 to 3 years later.
I wasn't, like, applying that to influencer marketing.
Yeah, well...
I was thinking that was, like, more traditional advertising.
It's advertising in general, but remember, influencer marketing
is most of advertising right
is
now.
Taking up a huge share of advertising in general.
Yeah, I mean, well, of course, teenagers seeing people hang out without them...
Or not even, like, hang out. Because, like, some of these people, you're just looking at people in their rooms, right, alone. And you're perceiving them maybe differently than they even are. Like, one of the things that's really perplexing that we encounter at work, because we sell clothing, is sometimes we'll post pictures of people that we know, like models we work with all the time. And people online will start speculating in the comments about what size the person's wearing. Yeah, it's always so wild. So, like, we have this one model who is in between an XL and a 2X. And we'll post them. We'll be like, okay, this is the model. Here's their measurements. They're wearing a 2X. And this person knows their size, has shot with us forever, wears the same size in every brand they shop from. They're like, yes, I am a plus size person. I am the smaller end of it. They call it small fat, but still, this is my size for sure. And, like, we had this one video recently go viral, and all these people were like, no, that person isn't actually a 2X. They're like a size 10. They're like a size large, or they're a medium. And you're like, you can't guess this person's size by looking at them. They know their size, right? Yeah. So I think, like, the thing is, like, we project onto other people what we think of as being, like, a more quote-unquote kind or flattering assessment often than we would ourselves. Yeah. So, like, if you're the kind of person who values thinness and you look at somebody who's a 2X and you're like, they look good to me, you're going to be like, therefore they can't be a 2X because I value thinness,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also, like, comparing, like, the whole, like, lifestyles, too, though, where if you, like, are seeing people that are, like, out at a party and you're at home by yourself, then you're just like, oh, I wasn't invited, and then you just feel worse.
Yeah, I think, like, the thing is, like, we just are projecting our value systems onto people we see online, so...
this is, like, how everybody kind of, like, thinks that their biggest, whatever their one, like, main insecurity is, they think that everybody thinks about, like, the same thing, and they think it's, like, the most important thing. So it's, like, I feel like people who, like, everybody has, like, their one thing that they're, like, the most upset about. Yeah. So then they, like, focus on it way more than anybody else does. Like, some people, like, money is, like, their biggest thing, and then they talk about it, like, way more than anybody else does, and, like, they think that the world, like, or money's a bad example because the world doesn't really
the world does, yeah.
Okay, like they're self-conscious about, like, their nose, and then they think that, like, all opportunities that they're not getting are because they're ugly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's, like, the thing, though. We're, like, crueler in our own assessments of ourselves than we are of others. So when we look at somebody else, we think that their life is more perfect, more put together, that they're more of whatever we wish we were than we are. And sometimes there are value assessments that are real, where you're like, this person's life is so much better than mine because they have more friends, they have more money, they have more this and that. Sometimes their value assessments,
it might not actually be.
But it might not actually be true. You're projecting that onto them. And sometimes they're value assessments that aren't even real. Like, you see this a lot where you're like, well, I value, for example, having like very European features, and this person has very European features, so I think that they're prettier than this other person because of this. And you're like, well, that's actually that's you coming up with that beauty standard. I mean, it's not just you, right? It's obviously like enforced by society and like society's idea of what beautiful is, and we've all internalized that, and it comes from these like very white supremacist things. But it's like you don't even realize that you're projecting that onto somebody else, and that might not even be like their lived experience. This is also like very personal and selfish, but I feel like my appearance is like a litmus test for whether people like me or not, or how they feel about themselves, because I don't think that I'm a particularly attractive person necessarily, but it's fine. I'm like fine. And I also benefit from certain things that are beauty standards in society. Like, I have Eurocentric features, European features, I'm thin and I'm white. And those are things that society is like beauty standard, beauty standard, beauty standard. So online, I'll get like on the same post, people will be like, you know, you're not actually like smart or good at things. People just like you because you're pretty. And then somebody else on the same post will be like, I don't know why people are even listening to you. It's not like you're pretty. You know? And I'm like, well, I'm really just like, you guys are projecting whatever. I'm like a Rorschach test for whatever's going on in your own brain. I think I'm fine and that's okay, you know? Yeah. But it is like this thing where it's like, you're whatever you feel the deficiency is in your life, you are projecting onto other people, and you are imagining that everybody around you is so much happier, so much richer, so much thinner, so much like more loved than you, because this is what society is telling you are the things it takes to be happy in this world and make it. And you're like, this person's doing it. And
then your whole feed, like on TikTok, gets like, it can like become fully about your one insecurity.
Right. Yeah. It's just
like validates that's the world.
This self-fulfilling prophecy. Right. Yeah. And like, I think that the way this all ties in to like this thing about advertising and like happiness is that social media under capitalism, right, has become one and the same with advertising in so many ways. Like, social media is synonymous with advertising. And that guy who did the study on advertising and happiness, he was like, our analysis shows that if you doubled advertising spending, it would result in a 3% drop in lifetime satisfaction. And that's about half the drop in life satisfaction you'd see in a person who'd gotten divorced, or about 1/3 the drop you'd see in someone who became unemployed. It's worth wondering whether Western society has done the right thing by allowing large levels of advertising almost unregulated, as though it were inevitable. And he explains that the reason advertisements depress us is because of that comparison instinct. We compare ourselves to the type of people who could afford that car, who would fit into that dress, who do have the time to be the super mom in the diaper ads, and we feel less than them, and then we feel angry about it. And where social media was promised to us as a way to connect with people and experience the world at our fingertips as like a tool of communication, capitalism inspired it to evolve just into a giant rotating billboard trying to sell us flat tummy tea and gummy bears for hair growth. And using influencers who in another world might have just been like paid entertainers to instead hawk these bullshit products like commercial breaks in between the content that we might actually want to see that they produce. So I think the question I wanted to ask you, Lizzie, to like wrap up this episode is, what kind of world would we have to live in for sponsored content to be irrelevant?
I kind of wonder, I've been wondering lately if there's social media, I feel like is getting more and more boring and like almost unusable to me. Because it's just like so much, not like that it's like so much sponsored content, but there's just like so much stuff that I just like, no matter what it is, I feel like you like get bored of it.
No, I get that too. Yeah. And it's becoming so like the algorithm makes it all like, it has to be one thing to fit into the algorithm. The algorithm censors.
I really am starting to, I didn't always feel this way. Like, I think I did like a lot of my life online, just like between like Imvu and like Flickr and Tumblr. And like, I would like always like, it's like so lame, but I'd be like, oh, I'd so much rather like sit at home on Tumblr than go to a party or whatever, like be at a party and be like going on Tumblr. But I don't really feel that way anymore. Like, I feel like lately, and it really is like a new development, I like am having way more fun in real life.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I do think that social media has like jumped the shark. Like it's become so much about just advertising products,
and even
that it's boring. Yeah.
Even not just the advertising, it's just like so much that it's like too much, so everything becomes like meaningless.
Yeah, I could see that it's oversaturated and it's underwhelming.
I kind of think that it is possible that people will start to go on it less.
That would be cool. I mean, it'd be interesting. But then, yeah, the advertising just shifts, I guess, to like a new medium.
Yeah.
Like, we can't escape advertising, even if the way we engage with social media might change. We were talking about this, how there needs to be like a social media platform that does not lend itself to monetization.
Yeah.
And like, how do you develop that and what does that look like?
It's only about friendship.
It's only about friendship and art.
Farmersonly.com.
ChristianMingle.com.
Mm-hmm. Dating
apps.
Dating apps are social and not about sponsored content.
They're not, but they're also not about art. They're kind of like hotornot.com.
They are kind of like hotornot.com.
Right. And that's kind of depressing because some people who are like, I'm not getting like matches on social media. I must be ugly and horrible and everyone hates me.
Do you think that happens?
I think it happens for men. I think it's like if you present feminine, I think like dating apps are pretty easy.
Yeah.
Not like for everybody, obviously. Like if you're like a fat woman, for example, you're gonna have to deal with men saying super fucked up shit to you, or like if you're not white, like you're like, or, like racism's gonna play into all my interactions. I think if you're like a moderately attractive white woman, it's probably super easy for you, is my guess. But and then if you're a man, you're just like miserable. Like there's all these like Reddit forums that are just like men talking about how you're supposed to make your profile better so women will actually like you because they never get likes.
Oh, yeah.
But it's really wild. When you look at them, they're like, well, everybody said I should have photos with all my friends in them. And I'm like, this is the opposite of what all my friends actually like in dating apps.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
the
what?
advice for men dating on Reddit, like all those forums on like dating advice for men are so funny. There's like ones that like tell them like how to decorate their apartments.
Oh, that's
and, like,
smart.
It's really cool. It's really funny.
I think if I didn't have the job I have now and I could get off the internet forever, I would love to have a service where I decorate people's houses for them.
I was on Google Earth. Me and my friend have this like Google Earth blog where we just like roam the streets, and I saw this storefront in Las Vegas for makeovers. And I sent a picture to Sarah, but like it's just like a business that you just like go to the store and then they give you a makeover.
I would love that. I want that.
Cool.
I want to do that. That's the future for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the only way to like not have sponsored content around you at all times is literally just like a total shutdown of capitalism, because like the only way to fight advertising is to like fight consumption, and the only way to fight consumption is to exist in a system where people don't need to sell bullshit things to keep profit rising so that they can have a job.
It's like the Church of No Shopping.
It's like the Church of No Shopping. Exactly. Like we would have to live in a world where we make things based on consumer demand and need, not one where we make shit first, then try to fabricate consumer demand and need as the afterthought.
I thought you were looking for like a fun answer. That's true. That's
I think yours is fun though. I think yours is better. Mine is just like depressing because it's like
it's true.
We just need a totally different world that's like got like
you
a planned economy.
You can't even like say like, oh, I'll just go off the grid and live in nature, because you still just like need stuff.
You need stuff, and you need money, and you need to pay your property taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way to escape the system. But it is just wild. Like, when you really think about this, you're like, why does advertising exist? And you're like, the reason advertising exists is because we make a bunch of shit first, then hope people will use it.
Well, it's
which
like,
is such a waste of resources and time and energy.
It's also like the thing of like everybody who like makes, I can't remember what it is exactly, but it's like everybody who makes the most money is like a middleman for something, or like you have to like make a business, you have to be a middleman for something.
Yeah, that's totally true. Drew, my partner who died, he was always the middleman, right?
Yeah.
Because he had his own line and he was a clothing designer, but he made the most money doing private label for major corporations. Yeah. So major corporations would come to him and be like, we like your line, will you make us our own collection? And he would take these really, really low margins, but do all the work. And then eventually what started happening is the major corporations would be like, we don't really need you anymore because like now we know the manufacturers and we can just do this. And he always joked, he was like, save the middleman. Like you're killing the middleman.
Yeah.
Like the middlemen are the middle class.
Real estate brokers.
Yeah, exactly. You need the middleman. If we're going to have a system of capitalism, like you got to keep all the components in place. Otherwise you need to
save the middleman.
Save the middleman. Otherwise, you need to, create a system where you're actually just planning how much everybody needs of everything and not doing this whole try to buy it busking on the internet song and dance so people can have things like healthcare and food. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like your sponsored content stuff was more fun.
I liked yours a lot. I think
Did
we
you?
just like both did a really good job.
I think we
Equally.
did too. How would you rate your first podcast experience here, Lizzie?
I had a really fun time. I don't think I did as good as I could have, but I had a really fun time, and I didn't expect to have so much fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that there's no wrong way to do it.
I would come back.
think you did great. You'd
Okay,
come
good.
back again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have you back
maybe
again.
Kenna will go out of town again.
Or maybe I'll go to town and it'll be you and Kenna
Whoa,
doing a
that'd be
podcast
crazy.
episode. Yeah, I
That'd
think
be-
that's it. Is there anything else you want to add about sponsored content before we go?
No.
No. Unless you, dear listeners, want to sponsor us some content.
That's a good idea.
What's your rate, Lizzie?
$1,000 a post.
Oh, you'll do $1,000. You'll post anything for $1,000.
I'll post anything for $1,000.
I would post anything for $10,000. I would post a flat tummy tea talks.
It would only
lollipop.
be $10,000.
Maybe not. I don't know. It would ruin my life.
I don't know. I hope that you get that offer.
Yeah, they
I
could
would like
offer.
to see how you do with it.
I don't know. You know what? I say that, but like the reality is, Flat Tummy Tea has offered to pay me before for
And
a post.
You said no.
Well, I actually sent them back a really long email about how
much
destructive
they
and
suck.
problematic they were for the universe, and how I knew the person emailing me, they didn't create Flat Tummy Tea, but they could maybe be
I
aware
know,
that
yeah,
they were
and then you, like, tried
complicit
to
in the
collect
system.
them.
Yeah, that it was not good for
Well,
people. It was
I'll
bad.
post it for $1,000.
You would post it.
I'll drink it.
I wonder if it tastes bad. It does make you prone to bouts of diarrhea and liver failure.
$1,000.
$1,000 is $1,000
Yeah,
No.
I'll drink it.
That's the Kim Kardashian lifestyle. All right, that's the episode on sponsored content. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Pick Me Up, I'm Scared. If you would like to join us on Patreon, you can find us there at patreon.com/pickmeupimscared. For $3 a month, you can access bonus content there. But if $3 a month is too much for you to spend right now, we totally get it, and we're just happy you're here. As always, you can find the sources for this week's episode just by scrolling down a bit in the description.